Hey everyone, and welcome back to Mystic's Mind. Today we're diving deep into a topic that so many of us have secretly, or not so secretly, whispered into the universe. The ethics of love spells and manifesting for a specific person. It's that ache in your chest, that constant replay of their smile in your mind, the feeling that, if only they could see you, love you, choose you, everything in your world would finally click into place. It's a powerful, sometimes overwhelming human experience. Before we dive into the stars and the intricate energies at play, if you're finding these insights helpful and this space feels like a sanctuary for your soul, please take a moment to hit that like and subscribe button. It truly helps this energy reach more people who might be navigating these same deep waters. And I'd love to connect with you. Drop a comment below and tell me a question you're re-asking the universe right now. Your journey matters. All right, find a comfortable spot, take a deep breath, and let's align our energy with the cosmos. Let's start right there, in that feeling. Before we get into any talk of ethics or karma or universal laws, I want you to give yourself permission to honor the depth of what you are feeling. The desire to be with a specific person is not silly. It's not trivial. It is one of the most profound and catalytic experiences the human soul can have. It's a longing that can feel ancient, as if your very cells recognize this other soul on a level that defies logic and time. There's a sanctity in that yearning. It's a testament to your capacity to love, to feel, to connect so deeply that another person feels less like a choice and more like a destination. So, the first step in this entire conversation is to release any shame or judgment you might hold against yourself for having this desire. You are not wrong. You are not low vibe. You are a human being with a magnificent heart, and that heart has recognized something in another that has woken it up. This feeling often arrives like a lightning strike, doesn't it? One moment you're moving through your life and the next you meet them. It could be the way they look at you when you speak, a shared sense of humor that feels like a secret language, or just an inexplicable sense of home in their presence. Suddenly, your world is in vibrant technicolor. You find yourself replaying conversations, analyzing every text, searching for signs that they feel it too. Your phone becomes a sacred object, a potential portal to them. Your heart leaps at a notification and sinks with a thud when it's not from them. This isn't just a crush, it feels like destiny. You start to build a world in your mind where you two are together. And in that world, you are happy, you are complete, you are finally truly seen. This imagined future feels so real, so right, that the reality without them feels barren, a pale imitation of the life you know you're meant to have. The intensity of this can be all-consuming, and it's from this place of deep, aching desire that we often turn to the spiritual world for help, asking, how can I make this happen? The spiritual principle at play here is not about control, but about reflection. The universe rarely sends such a powerful connection into your life by accident. This person, this intense magnetism you feel, is a messenger. They are a sacred mirror. The profound longing you feel for them is actually your own soul calling out to you, trying to get your attention. The universe has sent you a living, breathing embodiment of an energy, a quality, or a feeling that you are ready to integrate into your own life. When you feel that sense of wholeness in their presence, it's because they are activating the parts of you that have been dormant. When you admire their confidence, their creativity, their kindness, or their freedom, you are not just seeing them, you are seeing a reflection of your own highest potential. The ache you feel is not just the absence of them, but the absence of you, the you that you are becoming. The intensity of your desire for them is directly proportional to the intensity of your soul's desire for its own evolution. So, instead of immediately asking, how do I get them? We can start with a much more powerful question. The actionable insight here is to see this person not as the destination but as the sign. The love you feel is real, but the story you've attached to it might be a beautiful illusion. The story says, I need this person to be happy. The soul, however, is saying, you need the qualities this person awakens in you to be whole. This subtle shift in perspective is the key that unlocks everything. It moves you from a position of passive wanting to one of active becoming. It takes the power out of their hands and places it firmly back into your own heart. This doesn't diminish the connection or invalidate your feelings. In fact, it honors them on a much deeper level. It says, thank you for showing me what's possible. Thank you for showing me the parts of myself I am ready to claim. So, as we sit with this initial powerful surge of emotion, I want to leave you with a question for your own quiet reflection. Get really honest with yourself, without any judgment. Let the answer rise up from that deep place within you. The question is this: beyond their physical presence, what feeling or state of being do you believe this person will give you that you feel you currently lack? Is it a feeling of safety, of being cherished, of excitement and adventure, of being finally understood? Don't just name the feeling, but really allow yourself to feel into it. What does it feel like in your body? Sit with that for a while, because that feeling right there is the true prize. That feeling is the destination the universe is pointing you toward. The person is just the beautiful human angel who came to deliver the map. So you have that feeling now, held gently in your awareness. That feeling you identified at the end of our last talk, that sense of safety, of being cherished, of wild adventure, or of being profoundly seen. This feeling is the golden thread, the true north on your spiritual compass. And holding on to this thread is precisely where we begin to understand the critical difference between setting a pure intention and attempting an act of imposition. This is the very heart of the ethical dilemma we're exploring today. On the surface, both paths can look similar. Both involve desire, focus, and a calling out to the universe for a connection. But energetically, they are worlds apart. One is an act of co-creation with the cosmos, and the other is an act of ego trying to play God. Let's first talk about pure intention. A true, heart-centered intention is like planting a seed. You choose a seed that you know will blossom into the feeling you desire. This case, the seed of love, partnership, and connection. You send out a call to the universe from a place of wholeness, saying, I am ready to experience a love that feels like this. It's an expansive broadcast of a desired state of being. It's a frequency you begin to hold within yourself. Notice the language I am ready to experience. I am open to receiving. This is the language of trust. It is an invitation, not a demand. A pure intention honors the free will of all beings, including yourself and your potential partner. It leaves room for divine intelligence to work its magic, to orchestrate synchronicities and connections in ways you could never have planned. An intention is focused on the what, the qualities, the dynamics, the emotions of the partnership, and it courageously surrenders the who, when, and how to a wisdom far greater than our own. It feels light, hopeful, and exciting, like you are stepping into a creative dance with life itself. Now, let's look at its shadow, imposition. Imposition is not planting a seed. It's trying to command a specific, pre-selected flower to grow in a place it may not be meant to, in a season that isn't right for it. It comes from a place of scarcity and control. The underlying energy is not, I am ready for love, but rather, I need that person to validate my worth. It is an attempt to bend another person's reality, their feelings, their choices, and their life path to fit your own prescribed narrative. This is the energy behind a love spell that targets a specific person without their consent. It's a spiritual forcing of a lock. The focus shifts entirely from the beautiful feeling of love to the singular prize of the person. Energetically, imposition feels tight, anxious, and desperate. There's a constant need to check for results, to monitor their social media to look for signs that your spell is working. It's not a dance with the universe, it's an arm wrestle. And this is where we cross a sacred energetic boundary. Let's imagine this in a real-world scenario to make it crystal clear. Think of two friends, both deeply captivated by the same person. Let's call him Alex. The first friend, let's call her Maya, practices intention. After sitting with her feelings just as we did, she realizes that what Alex represents to her is a profound sense of intellectual partnership and gentle, supportive strength. She feels seen and intelligent in his presence. So, Maya sets her intention. She might write in her journal, I am joyfully calling in a loving partner who engages my mind and supports my heart. I desire a connection built on mutual respect, deep conversation, and unwavering kindness. I am open to a love that embodies the beautiful feeling of supportive strength I sense in Alex. Thank you, universe, for bringing me my highest and best match. Maya's focus is on the feeling and the qualities. She uses her feelings for Alex as a compass, not as a cage. She then focuses on becoming that person herself, engaging in her intellectual pursuits, strengthening her own supportive nature. Now, consider the second friend, Chloe. Chloe practices imposition. Her focus is exclusively on Alex. She decides she wants him and only him. She might create a ritual with his photo, chanting affirmations like, Alex desires only me. Alex will leave his current girlfriend and realize I am his soulmate. He will text me by Friday. Do you feel the difference? Chloe's entire energetic output is aimed at influencing, manipulating, and controlling Alex's thoughts and actions. She is not asking for love. She is demanding a specific person deliver it on her terms. Her actions disregard Alex's free will, his current life path, and the feelings of his girlfriend. She is attempting to impose her will onto the tapestry of multiple lives. This is not co-creation. It's a form of psychic interference. The core principle here is rooted in the spiritual law of do no harm. When you try to impose your will on another, you are assuming you know what is best for them better than their own soul does. You are, in essence, trying to rewrite their soul script. This act, born of your own perceived lack and insecurity, sends ripples through the energetic field that are not aligned with love, but with control. And as we'll discuss more later, the universe can only echo back the energy you send out. An intention rooted in love and expansion will attract a love that is loving and expansive. An imposition rooted in control and desperation will, if it works at all, attract a connection that is controlling, desperate, and ultimately devoid of the genuine feeling you were seeking in the first place. So, this brings us to a moment of honest self-assessment. There is no judgment here, only clarity. Becoming aware of our own energy is the most loving thing we can do for ourselves. I invite you to reflect on this question. When you close your eyes and think about your desire, where does your energy flow? Is it focused on cultivating the beautiful, expansive feeling of a loving partnership within your own heart, trusting that the perfect form will arrive? Or is your energy focused outward, on monitoring, analyzing, and attempting to influence the specific thoughts, feelings, and actions of that one person? Your honest answer will tell you whether you are standing in the light of intention or the shadow of imposition. So, let's get really honest about where your energy is flowing, based on that question we just explored. Because whatever frequency you're broadcasting, whether it's the light, expansive energy of intention, or the tight, grasping energy of imposition, the universe has no choice but to act as a perfect energetic echo. This is one of the most fundamental and often misunderstood spiritual laws. The universe is not a cosmic vending machine where you insert a desire and get a product. It is a quantum mirror. It doesn't give you what you want with your mind. It gives you a perfect reflection of what you are in your being, in your energy, in your vibration. It echoes the truth of your energetic signature right back to you in the form of your life experiences, especially your relationships. When the desire for a specific person becomes an obsession, when it moves into that territory of imposition, it is almost always rooted in a profound feeling of lack. This isn't something to be ashamed of. It's a core part of the human experience. We are here to heal, but we must be honest about it. The energy is not, "I am so full of love, I would love to share it with this person if they are aligned." Instead, the energy is, "I am empty, and I need this person to fill me." It's a broadcast that says, "My happiness is not within me, it is over there, inside them. My sense of worthiness is conditional upon their choosing me. My life is incomplete until they complete it." This is an energy of deep scarcity, fear, and powerlessness. It's the vibration of a hole, an aching void, and you are sending this signal out into the cosmos with tremendous force. And because the universe is a faithful mirror, it cannot give you wholeness when you are screaming emptiness. It can't deliver a feeling of security when you are vibrating with the terror of abandonment. It can only echo your energy back to you. So, when you try to manifest or cast a spell from this place of lack and control, you are essentially placing an order for a relationship dynamic that will perfectly mirror that lack and control. If you send out desperation, you will receive a connection that feels desperate. If you send out jealousy and possessiveness, you will create a bond built on those very things. If your primary energy is a fear of being left, you will manifest a situation where the threat of being left is a constant, painful reality. You might get the person, but you will never, ever get the feeling you were truly seeking. Let me share a story that illustrates this perfectly. I once knew a woman, let's call her Sarah, who was devastated after a breakup. Her partner David had ended things, and Sarah's world collapsed. She felt worthless, abandoned, and utterly alone. Her desire to get him back consumed her. She wasn't just heartbroken, she was in a state of deep energetic panic. She turned to manifestation techniques, not as a tool for healing, but as a weapon of retrieval. Every single day she would visualize him coming back, scripting conversations, imagining him begging for her forgiveness. Her visualizations were potent, but they were fueled by a toxic cocktail of desperation, loneliness, and a fierce need to control the outcome. And to her initial delight, it seemed to work. After a few weeks of this intense, energetic focus, David called her out of the blue. He said he was confused, that he missed her terribly, and that he thought he'd made a mistake. Sarah was ecstatic. She saw it as a massive victory, proof of her power. But the relationship that rekindled from these ashes was a ghost of what she had dreamed. It was a perfect, painful echo of the energy she had used to create it. Because her manifestation was born from a deep fear of abandonment, she became pathologically anxious. She checked his phone, questioned where he was, and needed constant reassurance. David, in turn, feeling the suffocating pressure of this energetic cage she'd built, became distant and secretive, which only fueled her fears more. The dynamic was not one of love, but of control and suspicion. The very thing she thought would cure her loneliness made her feel more profoundly alone than ever. The success of her manifestation became her greatest prison and her most painful spiritual lesson. She had managed to pull his body back into her life, but his heart, his respect, and his free will were not there. She had manifested a puppet, not a partner. This is the energetic trap of specific person manifestation. Even in a best-case successful scenario, the foundation is tainted. True love, the kind of love our souls are actually yearning for, can only be built on the bedrock of freedom. It is a voluntary, joyful, mutual choosing of one another day after day. It is a connection that flows, that breathes, that feels safe and expansive. Any connection that is coerced, manipulated, or forced into existence, even with something as seemingly benign as our thoughts, will always lack that vital, life-giving essence. It will feel hollow at its core because it is not real. It is a fabrication of the ego, and the ego can build a beautiful house, but it can never create a home for the soul. So, this leads us to our next moment of self-inquiry, a chance to diagnose the frequency you are currently broadcasting. I want you to sit quietly for a moment, take a deep breath, and bring your awareness into your heart space. Now, think about your person. Let the feelings come up. Ask yourself this with radical honesty. If the universe were to deliver to me today a relationship that is a perfect energetic match for the feelings I am holding right now, what would that relationship genuinely feel like? Would it be defined by peace, trust, and joyful anticipation? Or would it be characterized by anxiety, impatience, a need for control, and a constant fear of loss? Be honest. The answer will tell you everything you need to know about the echo you are creating. Now, if your honest answer to that last question revealed that the energetic echo would create a relationship filled with anxiety, uncertainty, and fear, please do not feel a shred of shame or discouragement. In fact, celebrate. This awareness is the first ray of dawn after a long night. It's a profound gift you've just given yourself. It simply means you've likely been operating under a very common, very popular, and very flawed understanding of how energy actually works, especially when it comes to the so-called law of attraction. For many, the law of attraction has been presented as a simple equation. Intense focus plus repeated thought equals desired outcome. It's the idea that if you just want something badly enough, visualize it with enough detail. This turns the magnificent, intelligent cosmos into a transactional mail-order catalog. It puts the human ego in the driver's seat, leading us to believe that we can, and should, control every detail of our reality, including the hearts and minds of other people. This is the great misconception, and it is the source of the ethical and energetic entanglement we're discussing. The truth is, it's called the law of attraction, not the law of coercion. This distinction is everything. Coercion is an act of force. It's about bending something to your will, pulling it into your reality, whether it belongs there or not. Attraction, on the other hand, is a natural, effortless drawing in. It's magnetism. You don't have to force the iron filing to come to the magnet. The filing is simply drawn to the magnet's inherent field. The work, then, is not in chasing the filing, but in strengthening the magnet. The law of attraction dictates that you do not get what you want with your thoughts. You attract what you are with your being. You attract an experience that is a perfect vibrational match to your current energetic state. It's not about what you're thinking about. It's about the emotional place from which you are thinking. The best way to understand this is to think of yourself as a radio tuner. The universe is constantly broadcasting on every single frequency imaginable, all at the same time. There's a frequency for profound joy, a frequency for deep peace, a frequency for creative flow. And yes, there are also frequencies for anxiety, for loneliness, for jealousy, and for grief. You, with your unique energetic signature, which is a combination of your beliefs, emotions, and overall state of being, are tuned to a specific station at any given moment. What you experience in your life is simply the music playing on the station you're tuned to. Security, joy, and freedom is broadcasting loud and clear on 104.5 FM. It's always there, available to anyone who tunes in. But because of your past heartbreak and current feelings of lack, you're tuned to 88.9 FM, the I'm not good enough and I'm afraid of being alone station. On this station, the music is melancholic. The news is about disappointment, and the commercials are all about why you need someone else to be happy. As long as you are tuned to 88.9 FM, you can only possibly hear the broadcast of 88.9 FM. Now, trying to manifest a specific person from this state is like sitting in front of your radio, which is tuned to 88.9 FM, and screaming at it to play the music from 104.5 FM. You can create vision boards, say affirmations, and perform rituals all day long. But you are essentially shouting at a classical station, demanding that it play heavy metal. The radio simply cannot do it. It can only play what it is tuned to. The most powerful magic in the universe is not learning how to shout at the radio more effectively. The most powerful magic is learning how to gently, patiently, and lovingly change your own dial. The work is not external. It is entirely internal. This correct understanding of the law of attraction inherently honors the sacred principle of free will, which we will dive into much more deeply. Every single soul in the universe is their own sovereign radio broadcaster and receiver. You have absolute dominion over your own dial. You can choose what station you tune into, but you have absolutely no right, and no real ability, to reach over and change someone else's dial. When you try to force a specific person to love you, you are trying to hijack their frequency. This creates immense energetic static and distortion. It's why those successful manifestations, like Sarah's, feel so dissonant and painful. You haven't tuned into the beautiful music of love. You've just created a lot of noise. So the entire spiritual journey shifts from one of getting to one of becoming. You release the desperate need to get that person and turn your focus to becoming the person who is a natural, vibrational match for the love you desire. And this is the most empowering shift you can possibly make. The only thing you can ever truly control is your own energy. And it turns out that's the only thing you ever need to. This leads us to a pivotal shift in our self-inquiry. I invite you to release the old question and embrace a new one. Let this be your mantra as we continue our journey. I want you to start asking yourself with genuine curiosity and compassion, who do I need to become to be a natural, magnetic match for the kind of love this person represents? Can you feel the power in that shift? That powerful shift in questioning from how do I get them to who do I need to become does more than just move you from powerlessness to empowerment. It is the master key that unlocks the door to one of the most magical and expansive concepts in spirituality, the quantum field of infinite possibilities. When you are stuck in the mindset of chasing or fixing or forcing a connection with one person, your world becomes very, very small. It shrinks down to the size of their replies, their moods, their presence or absence. But when you turn your focus inward to the task of becoming, your world cracks wide open. You begin to realize that what you thought was the entire prize was merely one option on an infinite menu of cosmic potential. So, what is this quantum field? In the simplest spiritual terms, you can think of it as a vast, invisible web of pure energy and potential that underlies all of physical reality. It is the cosmic womb, the mind of God, the unformed clay from which all worlds are made. Every possible outcome, every potential timeline, every version of your life you could possibly imagine, and millions you couldn't exists right now as a wave of probability in this field. It is a field of pure possibility. Your focus, your beliefs, and most importantly, your vibrational state are what act upon this field. Your energy is the signal you send out that tells the field which one of those infinite possibilities to collapse into your physical experience. You are constantly pulling potentials out of the quantum field and into your life, whether you are aware of it or not. Herein lies the profound energetic mistake of fixating on a single person. When you decide with absolute certainty that only this one person, out of the billions on the planet and the infinite souls in the cosmos, is the key to your happiness, you are using your powerful, divine creative energy to shrink the infinite down to the finite. You are essentially staring at a single solitary grain of sand on an endless beach and declaring that this one grain is the only beautiful thing in existence. You are telling the universe, the great quantum field of endless possibilities, thank you for this infinite buffet of potential loving experiences, but I will only accept this one specific crumb I've found on the floor. It is an act of profound self-limitation. You put on cosmic blinders, and in your laser focus on this one person, you become completely oblivious to the hundreds of other beautiful souls the universe might be, trying to guide into your path souls who could be an even better match, who could offer a love that is easier, more aligned, and more fulfilling than you can currently imagine. Let's use an analogy. Imagine you walk into the most exquisite restaurant in the entire cosmos. The chef is a divine intelligence who knows you intimately, your history, your palate, your soul's unique nutritional needs. The menu is infinite. Now, you've had spaghetti before at another restaurant, and it was pretty good. It's familiar. You know what you're getting. So you sit down at your table, ignore the magnificent menu completely, and shout to the kitchen, "I'll just have the spaghetti." The universe, as a kind and patient waiter, comes to your table and says, "That's an excellent choice, but might I recommend the chef's special tasting menu tonight? It has been designed specifically for you. It contains flavors you have never experienced, textures that will delight you, and a combination of ingredients that will nourish you on a soul level. It is the meal your spirit has been craving." But you are resolute. "No thank you," you say. "I'm not interested in anything else. I've been thinking about spaghetti all day. I've been visualizing it. My heart is set on spaghetti. Only spaghetti will make me happy." The waiter, honoring your free will, nods sadly and goes to the kitchen. The divine chef, who had prepared a celestial feast for you, sighs and puts it aside. A few minutes later, the waiter brings you a plate of spaghetti, and it's fine. It fills your stomach. But you are left with a faint, nagging feeling of dissatisfaction, and you will never, ever know the sublime, soul-altering joy of the feast you missed out on, simply because you were too afraid to release your attachment to the one thing you thought you wanted. That specific person is your spaghetti. They are the known, the familiar, the object your ego has fixated upon. But the universe may have a 7-course meal of a partnership waiting for you. A partnership with an appetizer of laughter, a main course of deep, soulful connection, and a dessert of shared dreams. A partnership that has all the qualities you admire in your spaghetti, plus a host of other magnificent qualities you haven't even thought to ask for yet. By demanding only one outcome, you close yourself off to the feast. The antidote to this is to hold your desires with an open hand. You focus on the essence, the feeling of a delicious, nourishing meal, and you release the final form. You learn to end your prayers and intentions with the powerful caveat, this, or something even better for my highest good. This phrase is a game changer. It is a declaration of trust. It tells the universe, I have my preferences, but I trust your wisdom more than my own limited perspective. I am open, surprise me, delight me. This simple surrender keeps the quantum field of possibilities wide open. It allows the divine chef to work their magic. So, let's open the door to that magic, just a crack. This is our self-reflection for today. It's not about letting go of your desire completely, but just loosening your grip a tiny bit. I invite you to ask yourself, can I allow myself to entertain the possibility, just for a moment, that the universe has a love in store for me that is even better than the one I'm currently imagining? What if there is a partner out there who has all the wonderful qualities I see in my specific person, plus a deep emotional availability, a shared life vision, and a commitment to growth that would make my soul sing in ways I cue in to even fathom right now? What if this current fixation is just the appetizer, designed to whet my appetite for the main course that is still to come? So, how do you truly prepare yourself for this magnificent feast the universe has in store for you? How do you develop a palate that can savor the complex and beautiful flavors of an aligned, soulful love? It all comes down to understanding and then consciously curating your own unique energetic signature. This is the practical, hands-on work of becoming the person you need to be. The work we pointed to at the end of section 4. Every single one of us is constantly broadcasting a signal out into the quantum field. This signal, your energetic signature, is the sum total of your being. It's your home frequency, the baseline vibration from which you operate. It's composed of the dominant thoughts you think, the core beliefs you hold about yourself and the world, the emotional patterns you live in day to day, and the overall state of your spiritual health. It is the silent music your soul plays, and it is this music, and only this music, that the universe dances to. Think about it. Is your internal landscape generally one of optimism and gratitude, or one of pessimism and complaint? Do you hold a core belief that you are fundamentally worthy of a deep and respectful love? Or is there a quiet, nagging voice that tells you you're unlovable and will eventually be abandoned? Do you live in a state of relative peace and joy? Or do you find yourself caught in cycles of anxiety, resentment, or fear? The answers to these questions are not for judgment, but for diagnosis. They reveal the current state of your energetic signature, and this signature is the most powerful point of attraction in your life. It is the magnet, and your life experiences are the iron filings. The goal, therefore, is not to chase a specific iron filing. The goal is to tend to the quality and strength of your magnet. The most potent analogy for this is that of a lighthouse. I want you to picture a tall, strong lighthouse standing on a rocky shore. It has one job and one job only, to shine its light. The lighthouse does not worry about the ships at sea. It doesn't fret about a specific ship, wondering if that ship sees its light or appreciates its beam. It doesn't abandon its post to chase a particular vessel that it finds attractive. Its sole duty, its entire purpose, is to tend to its own inner lamp. It focuses on keeping its lantern fueled, its lenses polished and clean, and its foundations strong against the storms. By doing this one thing, by focusing entirely on the quality and radiance of its own light, it fulfills its purpose perfectly. And what happens? The ships that are navigating those waters, the ones that are seeking safe harbor, the ones that are aligned with that particular path, are naturally and effortlessly guided by its light. They are drawn to it not because the lighthouse chased them, but because the lighthouse was authentically, powerfully, and steadfastly being itself. It is a beacon. Now, imagine the absurdity of that lighthouse, seeing one particular ship sail by and deciding, that's the one. That's the only ship for me. Imagine it ripping itself from its foundation, crashing into the sea, and frantically trying to chase that one ship across the ocean. It would be a chaotic, destructive mess. It would cease to be a lighthouse. Its light would be useless, and its frantic, needy pursuit would most likely cause the very ship it desires to steer clear of the danger. You, my dear friend, are that lighthouse. Your soul's primary work in this life is to tend to your own inner light. Your joy, your passion, your healing, your peace, this is your lamp. When you are fixated on another person, obsessing over them, trying to bend their will to yours, you have abandoned your post. You are dimming your own light in a desperate external pursuit. And paradoxically, this frantic chase makes you less magnetic, not more. The most powerful, attractive, and magical thing you can possibly do is to stop chasing the ships and get back to the sacred work of tending to your own light. You must become the beacon. So what does tending to your light actually look like in practice? It's not some vague mystical concept, it's grounded daily work. It is the real love spell. It is consciously choosing to raise your own energetic signature. This means excavating and healing those old limiting beliefs that tell you you're not worthy of the love you desire. It means actively practicing gratitude, which is the fastest way to shift your emotional home base from lack to abundance. It means carving out time for hobbies and passions that light you up from the inside. Not because they might make you seem more interesting to someone else, but for the sheer selfish joy of it. It means setting and enforcing healthy boundaries that protect your precious energy. It means sitting in meditation or mindfulness to become the gentle observer of your thoughts, so they no longer run the show. This is the work of self-love. And as you do this work, your signature, your broadcast begins to change. You move from the frequency of neediness to the frequency of wholeness. When you operate from that place of wholeness, the entire dynamic of love shifts. It ceases to be something you must hunt, capture, and control. Instead, love becomes something that recognizes you. Aligned partners like ships in the night will see your brilliant light from afar and be naturally, peacefully guided into your harbor, because they are looking for the very safety and warmth that you have learned to cultivate within yourself. This brings us to our next point of reflection, designed to bring you home to yourself, back to your lighthouse. Instead of asking, "What can I do to get their attention?" I want you to ask yourself this simple, powerful question. What is one thing I can do today? Right now, not for anyone else, but simply to make my own inner light shine a little brighter. Maybe it's putting on music and dancing in your living room. Maybe it's spending 10 minutes in nature. Maybe it's picking up a paintbrush or a journal. Whatever it is, go do that. That is the magic. When you do that one simple thing to make your own light shine brighter, when you dance or walk in nature or lose yourself in a creative project, you are performing the most sacred act of all. You are calling your energy home to yourself. You are gathering up all the scattered parts of your attention and your power and bringing them back to your own center, back to your lighthouse. This practice is so vitally important because the opposite of shining your own light is leaking your energy out towards someone else. And this leakage most often happens through something spiritual traditions call energetic cords. Understanding these cords is absolutely essential to grasping the deep ethical responsibility we have as conscious creators. So, what are energetic cords? On a psychic level, every time you form a significant connection with another person, you create a filament of energy that connects you, aura to aura, chakra to chakra. Think of them as invisible energetic bridges. In healthy, balanced relationships with your beloved friends, your family, your romantic partners, these cords are beautiful. They are conduits for a mutual exchange of love, support, and compassion. A cord from your heart chakra to your mother's, for example, might carry the energy of unconditional love back and forth. These cords are typically light, flexible, and are based on mutual consent and genuine care. They support and nourish both people. However, there is a shadow side to this. Cords can also be created from places of fear, control, obsession, and unresolved attachment. These are unhealthy cords. Unlike their healthy counterparts, they are often unilateral, meaning one person creates and attaches the cord to another without their conscious permission. They don't facilitate a balanced exchange. They act as siphons, used to pull energy from another or to dump negative emotional energy onto them. When you find yourself obsessively thinking about a specific person, constantly checking their social media, trying to psychically feel into what they're doing or thinking, you are actively weaving and reinforcing one of these unhealthy, non-consensual cords. Every obsessive thought is another thread in the rope. Every moment you spend in fantasy trying to will them into your life, you are strengthening this invasive connection. This is where the ethics become starkly clear. Forcefully creating and maintaining one of these cords is a profound violation of a person's energetic sovereignty. It is a form of psychic intrusion. Every soul has a right to its own energetic space, free from unwanted influence and manipulation. When you attach a cord to someone to try and make them love you, you are, in essence, breaking into their energetic home. You are trespassing on their sacred ground, attempting to influence their thoughts and emotions for your own benefit. It is an act that fundamentally disrespects their autonomy and their soul's journey. Let's make this less esoteric. I want you to imagine it in the physical world. Say you go to a party and meet someone you find incredibly attractive. You talk for a few minutes and you feel a spark. Now, imagine that as they walk away, you pull a physical rope out of your pocket, sneak up behind them, and tie one end around their waist, attaching the other end to your own. Now they are tethered to you. In your mind, this might feel like you're ensuring they can't get away. But what is their experience? They feel this constant, uncomfortable, and frankly creepy tugging. They can't move freely around the room. Every time you feel a pang of insecurity and pull on the rope, they are physically jolted. When you want their attention, you yank it. If you see them talking to someone else, you might try to drag them back across the room with it. How would that person feel? They would feel harassed, controlled, and violated. In our world, this would be considered a form of assault. This is exactly what you are doing on an energetic level. When you maintain an obsessive focus on another person, every blast of needy thought energy is a tug on that psychic rope. You are pulling on their energy field, demanding their attention, trying to manipulate their movements and feelings. Is it any wonder then that this kind of energy so often has the opposite effect of what is intended? The person on the receiving end, even if they aren't consciously aware of the energetic dynamic, will often feel an inexplicable urge to pull away, to create space. They might feel suffocated, irritated, or drained in your presence, or even when just thinking of you without knowing why. Their soul is reacting to the energetic rope and trying to get free. And this dynamic is not just harmful to them, it is profoundly self-destructive for you. Think of that rope as a pipeline. Through your obsession, you are constantly pumping your own precious life force energy or focus, your creativity, your power, your chi on that pipeline and away from yourself. This is why obsession is so utterly exhausting. You are depleting your own reserves trying to fuel this one-way, non-consensual connection. You are abandoning your lighthouse and using all your precious oil to fuel a machine that gives you nothing back. You are literally giving your power away, which leaves you feeling even more empty and desperate, creating a vicious cycle where you then crave their energy even more to fill the void you yourself have created. It's a form of energetic vampirism where you are, ironically, both the vampire and the primary victim. This is a critical moment to practice energetic self-awareness. It's time to check for these leaks in your own field. So, I invite you to join me in this quiet inquiry. Close your eyes for a moment. Take a deep breath and come into your body. Sense your own energy, your own light, your personal space. From this centered place, ask yourself, where in my life do I feel I am leaking energy? Can I sense any cords or ropes extending from my body out into the world? Specifically towards this person I desire. Tune into that connection and feel its quality. Is it light, shimmering, and warm? Or does it feel heavy, sticky, demanding, or desperate? Don't judge what you find, just notice. Becoming aware of the rope is the first step to reclaiming your energy and setting both of you free. That awareness, you may have felt that sense of a heavy, demanding cord extending from U brings us face to face with the single most important spiritual principle in this entire conversation. This is the bedrock. This is the ultimate why. The reason that attaching that cord, tugging on that energetic rope is such a profound misstep is because it is a direct attempt to override the most sacred, non-negotiable, and fundamental law of the universe, the law of free will. This isn't just a nice philosophical idea. It is the central pillar upon which our entire cosmic structure is built. It is the highest law, respected by all beings of light, and to act against it is to move against the very current of creation itself. Free will is the divine gift of choice, bestowed upon every single soul by Source itself. It is the primary mechanism through which we learn, grow, evolve, and create our experience. The whole purpose of incarnating in a physical reality like this one is to navigate the world of duality and to make choices born of love, choices born of fear, and to experience the results of those choices. This is how the soul gathers wisdom. This principle is so paramount that even the most high vibrational beings, spirit guides, angels, ascended masters will not interfere with your free will. They can offer guidance, they can place signs in your path, they can whisper encouragement in your heart, but they will never, ever force you to take a path. They will not make a decision for you because to do so would be to rob you of your own soul's curriculum. So, we must ask ourselves, if the divine honors this law with such reverence, who are we to believe that we have the right to violate it in another? This is the core ethical flaw in any spell, ritual, or manifestation technique that targets a specific person without their enthusiastic and conscious consent. Its entire purpose, its very design, is to subvert their will. It is a conscious attempt to make another person feel, think, or do something that they are not organically choosing for themselves. It is an attempt to implant a desire to override their current feelings, to hijack their decision-making faculties to serve your own agenda. People often try to justify this by saying things like, "I just want to help them see that we're meant to be," or "I know what's best for them." But this is the ultimate spiritual hubris. It is placing your own ego's desire above that person's sacred soul, right to choose their own journey, with all its beautiful mistakes and magnificent triumphs. Let's step into the garden of the universe for a moment. Imagine this vast garden where every soul is a unique plant. One is a towering oak tree, another is a delicate orchid. One is a resilient sunflower, another a humble blade of grass. Each has its own divine blueprint. its own unique needs for sunlight and water, its own pace and season for blooming. In this cosmic garden, your one and only sacred duty is to tend to your own growth. You are responsible for watering yourself with compassion, giving yourself the sunlight of joy, pulling the weeds of your limiting beliefs, and growing towards the sky in your own authentic way. Now, from your patch of soil, you spot a magnificent rose growing some distance away. You are captivated by its beauty, its fragrance, its essence. You decide that rose must be yours. So, you abandon your own care. You stop watering your roots, you ignore the weeds choking your stem. All of your life force energy is now directed at that rose. You try to manipulate its growth. You build a crude trellis, trying to force its stem to bend and grow horizontally towards your patch. You might try to cast a shadow over it, hoping to block its access to the sun so that it will turn its face toward you instead. In your most desperate moment, you might even take a shovel and try to violently uproot it, intending to replant it in your own soil that may be completely wrong for a rose, a soil that cannot give it the nutrients it needs to thrive. What is the inevitable outcome of this? First, you will almost certainly damage the rose. In your clumsy attempt to force its growth, you are far more likely to break its stem than to bend it. In trying to possess it, you disrespect its very nature, its roseness, and what of your own plant? While you were busy being a rogue gardener, your own leaves have yellowed, your own soil has dried out, and the weeds of your obsession have completely taken over. You have not only violated the sacred nature of the rose, you have abandoned your own. True divine love in this garden is to tend to your own blossoming so fully to become so vibrant and fragrant in your own right, that the bees and butterflies, the agents of cosmic connection, naturally and joyfully travel between you and the rose, sharing pollen in a beautiful organic and unforced dance of attraction. This illustrates the great paradox of love and control. True love can only exist in an atmosphere of absolute freedom. Love is, by its very definition, a voluntary choice. The moment you take away the element of choice, you are not left with love. You are left with a hollow victory, an empty prize. You are left with obedience, with compliance, with a puppet. You may have succeeded in getting their body to show up, but you will have murdered the very thing you were seeking, their genuine, freely given heart. So we must reframe our understanding of what it means to love someone. The highest, most profound expression of love is not possession but liberation. It is to honor the divinity within another person so completely that you respect their free will above your own desire for them. This requires immense courage and trust. It requires you to love them enough to let them go, to let them be, to let them choose. This leads us to a deeply challenging but powerfully liberating question for your heart to hold. Do you love this person enough to honor their soul's absolute right to choose its own path, even if that path does not lead to you? Can you transform your desire for them into a prayer for their happiness and their freedom, regardless of the outcome? To be able to answer yes is to step into the true meaning of unconditional love. Answering a heartfelt yes to that question, the question of whether you can love someone enough to bless their freedom, is one of the most advanced and powerful spiritual acts you can perform. It is a profound demonstration of unconditional love, and it is an act of immense faith. And the beautiful thing is, this leap of faith is not a blind one. It is deeply supported and validated by the elegant, interconnected spiritual concepts of soul contracts and divine timing. For many who feel that intense, magnetic, and almost fated pull towards a specific person, these ideas can provide a framework of profound comfort and peace, helping to release the frantic need to control. Let's first explore the idea of a soul contract. Many spiritual traditions believe that before we incarnate into a physical body, our soul, from a higher state of consciousness, makes certain agreements with other souls. We agree to meet in the coming lifetime to play certain roles for each other, to learn specific lessons, or to create something beautiful together. These aren't rigid, unchangeable scripts that negate free will, but rather agreed upon energetic potentials and meeting points, designed for our mutual growth. That feeling of instant recognition you might have with someone, the sense that you've known them forever, is often your soul recognizing a being with whom it has a pre-existing contract. This is why the connection can feel so much bigger than just a simple crush. It has the weight of destiny behind it. This is where the second equally important principle comes into play: divine timing. A soul contract doesn't just outline the who, it operates on a cosmic timetable. Divine timing is the intelligent, benevolent force of the universe that orchestrates the unfolding of these contracts. It is the master weaver ensuring that both souls have had the necessary experiences, learned the prerequisite lessons, and reached a certain level of maturity and readiness before the contract is activated. The universe knows the perfect moment for the meeting to occur, for the connection to deepen, for the partnership to blossom in a way that will serve the highest good of both individuals. If you try to force the contract to activate before its divinely appointed time, You are acting out of sync with this universal intelligence. Imagine that you and this person have a soul contract for a beautiful, loving partnership. This is like having a flawless, guaranteed recipe for the most delicious cake you can imagine. You have all the perfect ingredients, the compatibility, the chemistry, the soul recognition. The outcome, a magnificent cake, essentially destined as long as you follow the instructions. Now, divine timing is the oven preheated to the exact, perfect temperature. The universe guides you to mix the ingredients together and place the batter into the oven. The timer is set. Your work is, for now, complete. But then, your ego and your anxiety kick in. You start to doubt the process. Is it baking correctly? Is the oven really working? It's taking too long. I need to check on it. So, you open the oven door. A blast of cool air rushes in, disrupting the delicate chemical reactions taking place. The cake, which was beginning to rise beautifully, suddenly falls. A few minutes later, you get anxious again. You open the door and poke it with a toothpick. Even though the timer hasn't gone off, you leave a hole in the top. You do this again and again. Your lack of trust and your desperate need to control the outcome leading you to constantly interfere. By the time the timer finally dings, what are you left with? A dense, flat, pockmarked, undercooked mess. The perfect destined cake has been ruined. And what ruined it? Your inability to trust the process? Your constant interference was the one and only thing that could have sabotaged the guaranteed outcome. This is what happens when you try to use spells or forceful manifestation to rush a soul contract. You are prying open the oven door. You are demonstrating a profound lack of faith in your own soul's plan and in the universe's impeccable timing. If a connection is truly written in the stars for you, the most powerful and effective thing you can do is to let go and trust. Your job is not to stand there anxiously staring at the oven door. Your job is to go and live your life. Clean the kitchen, read a book, dance to some music, in other words, work on yourself. Tend to your own lighthouse. Let the universe handle the baking. When the cake is ready, the timer will go off, and the aroma will fill your entire house. You won't be able to miss it. To force a connection before both souls are ready is like yanking a hard green mango from the tree in early spring. You might possess the fruit, but it will be sour, bitter, and completely inedible. It hasn't had the long, warm summer days it needed to ripen and sweeten on the vine. For a soul contract to be fulfilled in its highest potential, both individuals must come to it freely, wholly, and in their own perfect time, ripened by their own separate journeys. Any attempt to short-circuit this process will only ever yield a bitter, disappointing version of what could have been a sweet, sublime love. So, trusting becomes an active, creative state. It is not passive waiting. It is a powerful declaration to the universe that you have faith in the recipe. It is aligning yourself with divine timing instead of fighting against it. This is the ultimate act of co-creation. Doing your part and then allowing the divine to do its. This perspective invites a new kind of self-inquiry, one that shifts you from the energy of anxiety to the powerful frequency of faith. I want you to ask yourself this. What would you do with all the precious time and energy you are currently spending on worrying about this person, checking on them, and trying to manage the outcome? If you had absolute 100% unshakable faith that what is meant for you is already on its way, guaranteed to arrive at the perfect moment, what parts of your own life would you nourish and grow? Just imagining that freedom can begin to create it. Living in that state of faith where you redirect your energy from worry back into your own growth does more than just make your present life more peaceful and joyful. It also ensures that you stay in beautiful alignment with another profound and unavoidable universal law, the law of karma. Because the moment we move out of that sacred space of trust and into the territory of forceful, manipulative action, we risk setting a powerful and often painful karmic boomerang into motion. And this is a boomerang that, by law, must always return to the sender. Now, let's take a moment to demystify the concept of karma, because it's often misunderstood. Karma is not about a judgmental, punishing God sitting on a cloud keeping a tally of your good and bad deeds. It is not a system of cosmic revenge. Karma is simply the universal law of cause and effect. It is the universe's perfect and impersonal balancing mechanism. You can think of it like spiritual physics, as reliable and neutral as the law of gravity. For every action, there is an equal and corresponding reaction. The energy, and more importantly, the intention behind the energy that you put out into the world, creates a cause. The universe, in its need for equilibrium, must then create an effect to balance that cause. This effect will be a mirror of the original energy, and it will return to you, so that you can experience the results of your own creation. When we look at this law through the lens of our topic today, it becomes incredibly clear. As we discussed, the violation of another soul, Free will is one of the most significant spiritual missteps one can make. Why? Because you are deliberately interfering with the primary tool of that soul's evolution. When you attempt to coerce another person's feelings or actions, the intention you are broadcasting is, "My desire for you is more important than your right to choose. My will should override your will." You are setting a cause into motion that is rooted in disrespect for another's sovereignty and control, and in the belief that you have the right to take away someone else's power of choice for your own gain. Given the law of cause and effect, what then must the inevitable karmic boomerang look like? To restore balance, the universe must orchestrate a scenario in which your free will is violated, where your power of choice is taken from you in a way that feels just as disempowering and painful. The universe isn't punishing you, it is educating you. It is providing you with the only curriculum that can truly teach you the profound sacredness of the law you have broken. First-hand experience. You must feel in your own heart what it feels like to be on the receiving end of that energy. This is the only way the soul can cultivate true empathy and learn, on a cellular level, why honoring free will is so essential. Let's walk through a scenario. Imagine a man named Mark, who is deeply in love with a woman named Sarah, who is married to David. Consumed by his desire, Mark decides he won't wait for divine timing. He performs a ritual designed to sow discord in their marriage and to pull Sarah towards him. His intent is clear: to break up a committed partnership and take Sarah for himself. Let's say on the surface it works. Sarah and David's marriage inexplicably begins to crumble. They have a painful, messy divorce, and in her confusion and heartbreak, Sarah leans on Mark. They end up together. Mark believes he has one. He has thrown the boomerang. For a few years, things might even seem wonderful, but the boomerang is in flight, silently arcing its way back through time and space. Then one day, Mark comes home from a business trip to find a note on the table. Sarah has left him. She has reconnected with a man from her past, and she writes that the pull is something she can't explain, that she feels she has no choice but to follow her heart. Mark is shattered. He is completely blindsided, left in a state of shock, betrayal, and utter powerlessness. His life is turned upside down by a choice that was made completely outside of his control. In that moment of profound pain, he is being made to feel the exact emotional cocktail that David must have felt all those years ago. He is now the victim of a sudden, inexplicable separation. The boomerang, which he threw with the intention of causing a breakup and claiming a partner, has returned and delivered the very same experience to him. The karmic books are now balanced. The lesson has been delivered. This is why any perceived win from a coercive love spell is a spiritual illusion. It is a short-term gain that comes with an ironclad contract for long-term pain. You are essentially taking out a high-interest karmic loan, and the payback is always more costly than the original prize. You might get the person for a season, but you are also signing up to have your own heart broken in a karmically resonant way down the line, in this life or the next. The price is never, ever worth it. So, before taking any action that feels even slightly manipulative or controlling, let's use this law as a tool for profound and sober self-reflection. We can project ourselves forward and become the conscious author of our future. Imagine just for a moment that the action you are considering has worked, and you have the outcome you desire. Now, imagine the universe, in its perfect and impartial wisdom, needs to balance the energy of that action. What experience would it have to send back to you for you to feel exactly what the other person and anyone else impacted by your action has felt? Look at that experience clearly. Feel it. Are you truly, honestly, willing to sign up to receive that exact boomerang in your future? Your honest answer is your karmic compass. If your soul instinctively recoiled from the idea of receiving that karmic boomerang, if your immediate gut-level answer was a resounding no, then please take a moment to honor that wisdom. That reaction is your higher self, your soul, communicating its innate understanding of these profound universal laws. It knows that true love cannot be born from a place of imbalance and control. The part of you that hears this and still wants to push forward anyway, the voice that whispers, "But I don't care about the consequences. I just need them." That part of you has a name. In spiritual psychology, we call it the ego, and the ego's primary, all-consuming addiction is the illusion of control. Now, it's very important that we don't make the ego into a villain. Your ego is not evil or bad. It is a necessary and functional part of your human software. Its core job is survival. It's the part of your consciousness that identifies with your body, your name, your job, your story. It operates from a sense of separation. I am me, and the world is out there, and its main directive is to keep me safe. It does this by trying to predict, manage, and control the external world. The ego believes that happiness and safety are not internal states, but are conditional upon external circumstances. It runs on a script of, "I will be happy when I get the promotion," or "I will feel safe if I have enough money." Or, in this case, the most powerful script of all, "I will be worthy and complete when this person loves me." The desire for a specific person is the ego's ultimate playground. This person becomes the grand prize, the single external thing that the ego believes will solve all of its deepest fears. The fear of loneliness, the fear of not being good enough, the fear of being abandoned. The ego cannot stand uncertainty. The open-endedness of the quantum field we talked about feels like a terrifying abyss. Divine timing feels like an excruciatingly slow torture. The ego wants what it wants, and it wants it now. Because in having it, it believes it can finally relax, that it can finally be safe. So it devises strategies, it plots, it obsesses, and it pushes you toward coercive actions, all in a desperate attempt to nail down one specific outcome and eliminate the terrifying vulnerability of the unknown. There is a powerful analogy for this. Imagine your life is a magnificent, powerful ship, and you are its captain. You have everything you need to navigate the vast ocean of life. You have a sturdy wheel to steer, a compass of intuition to guide you, and great sails to catch the winds of divine will. Your sacred task is to captain your own vessel on its unique and beautiful journey. Then, you see another magnificent ship sailing on the horizon. The person you desire? Your ego, terrified of the vast, unpredictable ocean, decides that navigating alone is too scary. It becomes convinced that the only way to be safe is to lash your ship to theirs. So what do? You abandon the wheel of your own life. You let your compass rust. You ignore your own sails, which are flapping uselessly in the wind. All of your time, energy, and focus are now directed at their ship. You start frantically throwing grappling hooks and ropes, trying to get a hold on their railing, their mast, anything. Your sole obsession is to attach yourself to them, believing that if you can just get a grip, you can somehow steer their ship and force it to sail alongside yours forever. But this is an impossible and tragic endeavor. First, you have absolutely no real power to steer their ship. It has its own captain, their soul. It has its own crew, its own compass, and its own divinely appointed destination. All your desperate attempts to control it are just creating chaos and noise. You're scraping their paint, alarming their crew, and causing them to see you as a threat, a pirate on the seas. But the greatest catastrophe is what is happening to your own vessel, while your back has been turned, while you have been completely fixated on controlling another. Your own magnificent ship has been drifting aimlessly. With no one at the wheel, it is at the mercy of every rogue wave and shifting current. You are drifting toward rocky shores, toward dangerous whirlpools, completely oblivious because your gaze is fixed elsewhere. In your attempt to control their journey, you have utterly abdicated the sacred responsibility of your own. This is the great spiritual paradox. The ego believes that control is power, but the soul knows that true power lies in surrender. Surrender does not mean giving up or becoming a passive doormat. Spiritual surrender is an active, courageous, and profoundly powerful choice. It is the choice to finally let go of their ship. It is the act of returning to your own wheel, polishing your own compass, and raising your own sails to the wind. It is placing your hands back on your own life and saying to the universe, I trust the wisdom of the ocean. I trust my ability to navigate. Guide me to my highest harbor, and I trust that the right ships will be there to greet me when I arrive. This is freedom. This is true power. This is the first step to attracting a first mate, not capturing a prisoner. To do this, we have to learn to distinguish between the frantic voice of the ego and the calm, steady voice of the soul. The ego's voice is always urgent, anxious, needy, and demanding. It uses absolutist language. I need them. I must have them. I can't live without them. The soul's voice is different. It is quiet, calm, patient, and expansive. It speaks in the language of preference and trust. I would love to experience a partnership like that. I am open to a deep and beautiful love. I trust what is meant for me. So, let's take a moment to listen. This is your reflection point. Take a deep breath and tune into the inner monologue you have about this person. Is the voice that's speaking frantic, scheming, and strategizing about how to get them or what their latest action means? Or can you hear a quieter, deeper voice beneath that? A voice that speaks of a simple, pure desire for love? A voice of patience and trust? Which voice have you been giving the captain's wheel to? If you listened closely and recognized that the frantic, strategizing voice of the ego has been the captain of your ship, you've just made a monumental discovery. Please, take a moment to acknowledge the courage that it takes to be that honest with yourself. In that moment of recognition, you have begun to identify the subtle but critical tipping point where beautiful, genuine affection can begin to curdle into painful, obsessive attachment. These two energies can look similar from the outside, but they feel profoundly different on the inside. Understanding this distinction is absolutely key to reclaiming your power, your energy, and your peace. Let's start by defining love, not as an emotion you get from someone else, but as an energetic state of being. True, divine love is an expansive energy. When you are in a state of love, your own energy field literally expands. It feels open, warm, and generous. It connects you to a sense of gratitude for the person's existence and a genuine desire for their well-being. It's an energy that adds to your life. It inspires you, uplifts you, and motivates you to be a better version of yourself. The hallmark of true love is that it is freeing for both you and the other person. It can hold this beautiful truth: I love you and I want you to be ecstatically happy. And that is true whether your happiness includes me or not. It is the energy of the soul, and it is rooted in abundance. Now, let's look at its shadow, which we often mistake for love, attachment. Energetically, attachment is the complete opposite of love. It is a contractive energy. When you are in a state of attachment, your energy field shrinks and tightens. It feels anxious, needy, grasping, and fearful. It doesn't expand your world. It shrinks your entire magnificent universe down to the pinpoint of one single person. Attachment isn't truly about the other person at all. It's about what you believe that person can do for you. It's about using them as a solution for your own inner pain, your loneliness, your insecurity, your emptiness. Attachment says, I need you in order to be happy. Your presence is a prerequisite for my peace. The thought of them being happy with someone else doesn't just make you sad. It feels like a threat to your very survival. This is the energy of the ego, and it is rooted in scarcity and fear. The tipping point, the fine line between these two, is crossed when the focus shifts from appreciation to acquisition. The moment thinking of you brings me joy, mutates into, not hearing from you brings me pain. It's the moment I want you to be happy, adds the silent codicil with me. When their presence ceases to be a beautiful bonus in your already good life and becomes the central pillar upon which your entire emotional stability rests. Let's make this tangible by stepping into the inner worlds of two different people. First is Amelia, who is in a state of love. She has very strong feelings for her friend Liam. When she interacts with him, she feels uplifted. Her internal monologue sounds something like this: It was so wonderful to see Liam today. His passion for his work is so inspiring. It makes me want to go home and pour that same level of energy into my own creative projects. I feel so much gratitude just to know a person like him exists in the world. I truly hope he finds all the happiness he deserves. After their interaction, Amelia feels energized and expansive. She takes that beautiful feeling and channels it back into her own life. Liam is an inspiration, not a source of validation. Now let's visit Brenda, who is in a state of attachment with that same person, Liam. Her inner world is a tumultuous storm. Her entire day is dictated by his actions. Her internal monologue is a frantic cycle. Okay, he read my message 2 hours ago, but he hasn't replied. What does that mean? Did I say something wrong? Let me reread it for the 10th time. Maybe I should check his social media. Oh, he just posted a picture with his friends, so he has time for them, but not for me. My whole stomach is in knots. I can't focus on this report for work. My entire day is ruined until I hear from him. After an interaction, or lack thereof, Brenda feels drained, anxious, and powerless. Her energy is completely fixated on monitoring, decoding, and trying to control Liam's behavior. Amelia's love adds to her life. Brenda's attachment subtracts from it. To help you find your own footing, here is a simple diagnostic checklist. Be radically honest with yourself as you go through it. You are likely in a state of love if the feeling is predominantly one of peace, warmth, and gentle expansion. Thinking of them inspires you to be more loving, creative, or courageous in your own life. You can go about your day, focus on your work, and enjoy your friends, even if you don't hear from them. You can genuinely, from the bottom of your heart, say, I wish them complete happiness, and mean it, no matter what that looks like. You are likely in a state of attachment. Obsession if the feeling is predominantly one of anxiety, urgency, desperation, or annoying emptiness. You find yourself neglecting your work, your health, your friendships, or your passions because your focus is consumed by them. Your mood for the entire day is held hostage by their actions. Text can send you into ecstasy, and silence can send you into despair. The thought of them being happy and in love with someone else causes a visceral reaction of deep pain, anger, or jealousy. You find yourself engaging in compulsive behaviors, like checking their social media dozens of times a day or constantly engineering ways to run into them. This brings us to our self-reflection. This isn't about judging yourself as good or bad, but about clearly identifying the energy you're working with, because only then can you begin to heal it. Ask yourself this with total honesty. Does thinking about this person in the grand scheme of things connect you to a larger sense of love, joy, and inspiration within yourself, motivating you to expand your own life? Or does it more often disconnect you from your own life, shrinking your world and plugging you into a painful cycle of anxiety, waiting, and powerlessness? Your answer is the first step toward freedom. If your honest answer was that this fixation often disconnects you from your own life, shrinking your world and plugging you into that painful cycle of anxiety and waiting, I want you to take a deep breath and offer yourself some grace. You are not alone in this feeling. Millions of souls are navigating this exact terrain. And more importantly, please hear this. That feeling of obsessive attachment, that painful cycle, is not the real problem. It is a symptom. It is a fever screaming at you that there is an underlying infection that needs your loving attention. That attachment is a sacred messenger pointing you directly toward the true source of the pain, the deep, pervasive, and almost universal human wound of not enoughness. At the root of almost every compulsive behavior, every addiction, and every obsessive attachment, you will find this core wound. It's a foundational belief, often formed in early childhood and reinforced throughout our lives, that there is something fundamentally wrong with us. It's the quiet, persistent whisper in the back of our minds that says, I am not smart enough. I am not attractive enough. I am not interesting enough. I am not worthy of love just as I am. It's a feeling of being flawed at our core, an inner emptiness or a sense of lack that we carry with us everywhere. And because this feeling is so painful to sit with, the ego, in its mission to protect us, immediately starts searching for an external solution, a fix. This is where the specific person comes in. When we are carrying this wound of inadequacy, our psyche performs a powerful act of projection. We unconsciously cast this other person in the role of our savior because we perceive them as being confident or beautiful or successful or whole. Our subconscious mind creates a powerful and dangerously flawed equation. If that person, that amazing, perfect, highly valued person chooses me, then it will finally be the undeniable proof that I am enough. Their love will be the external validation that heals my internal wound. Their affection will be the magic elixir that finally fills this void inside me. They cease to be a person and become a symbol. They are the prize that, if won, will finally silence that terrible voice of not enoughness once and for all. But this strategy, as clever as the ego thinks it is tragically doomed to fail every single time. And it fails for one simple reason. Your worth is an inside job. It is not something that can be bestowed upon you by another. Your sense of wholeness cannot be outsourced. Placing that kind of cosmic pressure on another human being is not only unfair to them, it's an impossible burden for anyone to carry. You are not just asking them to be your partner. You are asking them to be your God, to be the source of your self-esteem, to be the healer of all your childhood wounds. No person can live up to that. They will inevitably fail, not because they are flawed, but because you have assigned them a role that was never theirs to play. Let's use the metaphor of a leaky bucket. Imagine that your self-worth and your capacity to feel loved is a bucket. In a state of spiritual and emotional health, your life's work is to learn how to fill this bucket yourself. You fill it with the clean, life-giving water of self-acceptance, self-compassion, acts of self-care, and by living in alignment with your own integrity. But most of us are walking around with a hole in the bottom of our bucket, or perhaps several holes drilled there by past hurts, criticisms, and traumas. This is the wound of not enoughness. Because the hole is there, we can never seem to keep our own bucket full. Any self-love we pour in seems to leak right out. So we grow desperate and thirsty. We start looking around for someone else who has a full bucket, and we run to them holding out our empty one, pleading, please, can you pour some of your water into my bucket? I'm so empty. This specific person you are fixated on is the one you believe holds the magic water that will finally quench your thirst. And for a moment, they might. Out of attraction or kindness, they might pour their attention, their validation, their affection into your bucket, and for a glorious second, you feel full. The relief is immense. But what happens next? Because the hole is still there, that precious water immediately begins to drain out. In no time at all, the bucket is empty again and your thirst returns, often more painful than before. So you go back to them more frantic this time, saying, I need more, please, a refill. This is the exhausting cycle of attachment. You become a bottomless pit of need. And they, in turn, eventually feel drained, resentful, and utterly depleted by your endless thirst. The only true and lasting solution is to stop chasing other people's water. The real spiritual work, the work this whole experience is calling you to do, is to have the courage to take your eyes off of them, turn your gaze inward, and get to know your own bucket. It's time to find the holes. It's time to begin the sacred art of mending. The universe didn't send you this person to be your savior. It sent you this person to trigger your core wound so intensely that you can no longer afford to ignore it. Their presence in your life, as painful as it feels right now, is a profound gift. Their true purpose is not to complete you, but to catalyze you into completing yourself. So let's begin the gentle work of tracing this feeling back to its origin. This inquiry is about finding the root so you can stop just trimming the poisonous leaves. Take a moment and call up the feeling you get when you are in the peak of your craving for their attention. That knot in your stomach, that ache in your chest. Now, can you trace that exact feeling back in time? Like a thread? When have you felt this specific flavor of not enoughness before? In your childhood, wanting a parent's approval. In high school, feeling left out in a past relationship. What is this person's presence simply reactivating in you that was already there long before they arrived? As you begin that courageous work of tracing the wound of not enoughness back to its roots of visiting those younger versions of yourself who first felt that ache, it's incredibly important to be aware of a sophisticated and subtle trap the ego can set for us on the healing path. It's a very common defense mechanism, especially in spiritual communities, that can keep us stuck in painful cycles for years, all while making us believe we're on a very advanced spiritual journey. This phenomenon is called spiritual bypassing, and it often goes hand in hand with the very patterns of codependency that the leaky bucket so perfectly illustrates. Let's first gently define codependency. In a spiritual and psychological context, it is a pattern of relating to others where you derive your primary sense of self-worth and emotional stability from another person. It's when the boundary between you and them becomes blurred. If you have codependent patterns, you might find that you have a deep compulsive need for approval. You may feel responsible for other people's feelings and problems. You might have a pattern of trying to fix or save your partners, and you almost certainly have a profound, terrifying fear of abandonment. At its core, codependency is the behavioral manifestation of the leaky bucket syndrome. It is the life strategy of constantly looking outside of yourself for the wholeness that can only be cultivated within. Now, let's bring in the other piece of the puzzle: spiritual bypassing. This term, originally coined by the psychologist John Welwood, describes the tendency to use spiritual ideas and practices to sidestep or avoid dealing with our unresolved emotional issues, our psychological wounds, and our unfinished developmental tasks. It's slapping a shiny, spiritual-sounding label on a deep, messy human problem to avoid the uncomfortable work of actually healing it. It's saying it's all love and light when you re-feeling deep anger or grief that needs to be processed. It's using meditation to numb out and dissociate from difficult feelings rather than to become more present with them. It's putting a spiritual bandage on a wound that requires psychological stitches. When you combine the intense, painful need of codependency with the convenient explanations of spiritual bypassing, you get a uniquely potent and stubborn trap. This is where the quest to manifest a specific person can become deeply problematic. The codependent pattern creates the desperate, "I can't live without them" feeling, and then spiritual bypassing swoops in to provide a lofty, romantic, and sacred-sounding justification for that very obsession, effectively giving you permission to avoid the real work. Let me give you a very common real-world example. Let's imagine a woman named Clara who finds herself in a painful push-pull dynamic with a man named Tom. Tom is emotionally unavailable. He gives her intense affection and attention one week, and then pulls away and goes completely silent the next. This dynamic triggers Clara's deep-seated fear of abandonment, her core wound of not enough. When he pulls away, her self-worth plummets. She feels an overwhelming anxiety, and her entire life grinds to a halt as she waits for him to come back. This is a classic, anxious avoidant attachment dynamic, deeply rooted in codependent patterns. The healthy healing path for Clara would be to recognize this pattern, acknowledge the pain it's causing, and turn her focus inward to learn how to self-soothe her anxiety, build her own self-esteem, and establish stronger boundaries. But that work is hard, it's uncomfortable. So instead, Clara goes online and discovers the concept of twin flames. Suddenly, she has a brand new, exciting, and spiritual way to frame her pain. Tom isn't being inconsistent and emotionally damaging. He's the divine masculine runner, and his running is a sacred part of their journey. She isn't exhibiting anxious, codependent behaviors. She is the divine feminine chaser, holding space for their divine union. The excruciating pain of the dynamic is no longer a red flag signaling that it's unhealthy. It's now proof that their connection is catalytic and high level. The spiritual concept has become the perfect bypass. Armed with this new vocabulary, Clara now feels completely justified in her obsession. She doesn't need to do the messy psychological work of healing her attachment wounds. No, her sacred duty is to keep focusing her energy on him, to do rituals to call in her runner, and to wait patiently for him to awaken to their divine connection. The spiritual framework has become a permission slip to remain in a deeply disempowering and painful cycle. This is spiritual bypassing in its most seductive form. Anytime you find yourself using a spiritual concept, be it soulmates, twin flames, karma, or the law of attraction to legitimize an unhealthy dynamic, you are likely in a bypass. Anytime you say, "I am manifesting them back" as a way to avoid the profound grief of a breakup, or to avoid the terrifying feeling of being alone in your own life, you are using a powerful spiritual tool to sidestep a necessary human emotional process. The goal is not to use spirituality to escape your humanity, but to use it to become more fully, consciously, and lovingly human. This requires us to be brutally honest with our own motivations. So, this brings us to a moment of deep, courageous self-inquiry. I invite you to set aside the spiritual labels for a moment and look at the raw, unfiltered reality of your connection. Ask yourself this, with as much honesty as you can muster. Are the spiritual ideas I hold about this person and our connection genuinely empowering me to turn inward and heal my own wounds? Or are these ideas primarily serving as a sophisticated justification to keep my focus on them, to explain away painful behaviors and to wait for them to change or return? Be honest, is your spirituality a tool for your liberation or a beautiful cage for your obsession? If you had that courageous moment of honesty with yourself just now, and you realized that maybe, just maybe, you've been using some beautiful spiritual ideas to construct a comfortable cage of obsession for yourself, I want you to know that that realization is the sound of the key turning in the lock. That honesty is the first step toward true freedom. And now, I want to offer you the key itself. The key to unlocking that cage and stepping out into the sunshine of your own life is to finally deeply understand the true, sacred purpose of this person's arrival on your path. They are not the prize, they are the mirror. This is one of the most elegant and efficient ways the universe works. When it's time for you to awaken to a new aspect of yourself, when your soul is ready to evolve and expand, the universe rarely just sends you an abstract idea or a quiet intuition. It is much more direct. Very often it sends you a person. It sends a living, breathing embodiment of the very qualities, energies, and potentials that are lying dormant within you, waiting to be activated. The intense, magnetic, often overwhelming attraction you feel is not just your personality or your hormones having a reaction. On a much deeper level, it is your soul, recognizing its own potential reflection. It's your higher self looking at this person and shouting, yes, that right there, that confidence, that freedom, that creativity, that joy. That is what we are ready to become. The deep, aching longing you feel is absolutely real, but you have likely misidentified its target. The ego, in its simplistic way, looks at the mirror and says, I want that thing. It sees the person and concludes, I need to possess them. I must have them in my life. But the soul, in its infinite wisdom, has a much deeper intention. The soul is saying, I want to embody that quality. This subtle but profound shift in perspective changes everything. It moves you from a state of powerless wanting to a state of empowered becoming. If you are intensely drawn to their free and adventurous spirit, it's a sign that your own soul is suffocating in the routine and safety you've built, and it's crying out for you to take a risk and explore your own life. If you find yourself mesmerized by their quiet confidence and self-assurance, it is a direct message that your soul is ready for you to stop playing small, to stop apologizing for your existence, and to finally stand in your own sovereign power. If you admire their fierce creativity and their passionate dedication to their art, it is your own creative wellspring, which may have been capped for years, bubbling up and demanding to be expressed. Do you see the magic in this? The power is not with them. It has been inside you all along. They are just the beautiful catalyst who came to show you the treasure map. Now, it's time to stop chasing the map bringer and start following the map to the treasure that lies within your own heart. To make this intensely practical, I want to guide you through a little exercise right now. If you can, grab a journal and a pen. If not, just do this in the quiet of your own mind. This is the work of deconstructing the mirror. First, I want you to make a list. Write down every single thing you admire, love, or are intensely drawn to about this person. Go deep. Move past the surface level things, like their eyes or their smile. What is it about their essence? Is it their razor-sharp wit? Their profound kindness to strangers? The way they seem to move through the world without fear? Their unwavering loyalty? The passion they have for their work? The playful, childlike joy they exude? Get as detailed and specific as you possibly can. Make a rich, full list of these beautiful qualities. Now, take a deep breath and look at the list you've just created. I want you to see it in a new light. This is not a shopping list for a perfect partner. This is your soul's personalized curriculum for its next stage of evolution. This is a direct message from your higher self telling you exactly what it's time to awaken. So, we're going to go down this list, item by item, and we're going to perform an act of sacred alchemy. We are going to reframe each and every point. For each quality you wrote down, I want you to say either out loud or in your heart, this is a quality my soul is asking me to cultivate and express within myself. Let's try it. If you wrote down his incredible self-confidence, it becomes, my soul is calling me to step into and embody my own self-confidence. If you wrote her deep compassion for animals, it becomes, my soul is asking me to awaken my own deep compassion for all beings, starting with myself. If you wrote, the fearless way he pursues his dreams, it becomes, my soul is urging me to take one small, courageous step toward my own dreams. Feel the energetic shift as you do this. The tight, grasping, needy energy of "I need that from them" begins to dissolve. And in its place, a new energy begins to rise on, energy of excitement, of purpose, of empowered self-creation. The focus moves from out there back to in here, where your true power has always been. In this moment, the other person is gracefully released from the impossible job of being your savior. They are honored in their true role, that of a teacher, a catalyst, a sacred mirror. You can now send them love and gratitude for the reflection they showed you, and then turn your full, loving attention back to your own becoming. This is the path to true wholeness. So let's anchor this new perspective with one final, actionable question. Looking at your new, reframed List Your Soul's curriculum, what is the one quality that feels the most exciting, or perhaps the most intimidating, to begin cultivating in your own life? And what is one tiny, tangible, manageable step you can take this week to begin the practice of embodying that quality just for you? As you take that one small, tangible step this week to embody a quality from your soul's curriculum, you are doing something truly magical. You are consciously beginning to alter your own energetic signature. You are taking your hands off the wheel of their ship and placing them firmly back on your own. You are starting to practice being the energy you wish to attract. And this conscious embodiment brings us to the most powerful, the most creative, and the most ethical piece of magic you will ever learn. We are going to take the principles we've just discussed and pivot our entire creative focus away from the restrictive act of manifesting a person and onto the expansive, potent practice of manifesting a feeling. This is the secret that is so often missed in popular manifestation teachings. The universe, the quantum field, does not primarily respond to the specific images in your head or the names you whisper in your spells. The universe responds to the language it speaks, and that language is vibration, it is frequency. And the most powerful way that we, as human beings, generate a clear, sustained frequency is through our feelings. Every emotion you have is a vibrational broadcast. Joy is a high, fast frequency. Despair is a low, slow frequency. Peace, security, passion, playfulness. These are all distinct energetic signatures. When you want to call an experience into your life, your most important work is to learn how to generate the feeling frequency of that experience within your own being. Here and now, before it has even arrived, you must become a vibrational match for the reality you wish to inhabit. This is why shifting your focus from a person to a feeling is not only the ethical choice but the far more powerful and effective one. First, as we've established, it is ethically pristine. It completely honors the free will of every other soul on the planet. You are not targeting anyone. You are not sending out psychic grappling hooks. You are simply turning yourself into a finely tuned magnet, a lighthouse, that will naturally and effortlessly attract a reality that resonates with the frequency you are broadcasting. Secondly, it is infinitely more powerful. As we discussed, fixating on one person collapses the infinite quantum field down to a single, limited possibility. But when you focus on a feeling, you hold the field wide open. You are telling the universe, bring me any person from any direction, known or unknown to me, who is a perfect vibrational match for this beautiful feeling state I am cultivating. This allows the cosmic intelligence to play matchmaker, to access its database of infinite possibilities, and bring you a partner who might be beyond the scope of your wildest dreams. Let's use the analogy of planning a much-needed vacation. The old method, the specific person approach, is like deciding you must go to Cancun. And not just that, you must be on American Airlines Flight 734, which departs at 8:15 a.m. this Saturday. You become obsessed with this one flight. You spend all your energy visualizing a seat on that plane, checking the airline's website, trying to will a spot into existence. But in your hyperfixation, you are blind to everything else. You don't see that the flight is overbooked, that there's a cheaper direct flight on another airline, that there's a hurricane forecast for Cancun that weekend, or that a stunning new eco-friendly resort just opened in Costa Rica for half the price that your soul would have loved 10 times more. You've made the vehicle, the specific flight, more important than the destination, which is the feeling of rest and rejuvenation. Now, let's look at the manifesting the feeling approach. You sit down, close your eyes, and ignore all the logistics. Instead, you tune into the feeling of being on your perfect vacation. You imagine the sensation of warm, soft sand between your toes. You hear the rhythmic sound of gentle waves lapping the shore. You feel the warmth of the sun on your skin and a light, salty breeze in your hair. Most importantly, you tap into the emotional state, that profound sense of peace, of release, of freedom from all your worries. You marinate in this feeling state. You let it fill your entire body. You then release the outcome to the ultimate cosmic travel agent, the universe, trusting that it will arrange the most perfect flight, the most perfect location, and the most perfect accommodations to deliver that precise feeling to you. By focusing on the essence of your desire, you allow the universe to surprise and delight you with a vacation that is infinitely better than the one you're limited. Ego could have micromanaged into existence. Your ideal relationship is that vacation. That specific person is that one specific limited flight. It's time to stop trying to book the flight and start embodying the feeling of the beach. So how do we do that? It's about getting granular with the feeling you desire. It's not enough to just say, I want to feel love. What flavor of love? What texture? How do you want to feel on a daily basis within this partnership? I invite you to imagine this now. How do you want to feel when you wake up in the morning next to your partner? Is it a feeling of deep peace and security? Or is it a feeling of joyful anticipation for the day ahead? How do you want to feel when you are having dinner together, talking about your day? Do you want to feel intellectually stimulated, deeply seen and understood, filled with laughter? How do you want to feel when you are facing a challenge together? Do you want to feel like you're on an unbreakable team, supported and cherished? By getting specific with these daily feelings, you are creating a feeling signature for your ideal partnership. This signature is the clear, powerful frequency you will begin to broadcast. So let's tune in right now. This is your reflection, a small exercise in feeling. I invite you to close your eyes. Let the face and name of that specific person gently fade away for a moment. In their place, just imagine a warm, loving, supportive presence. The who is a blur, an energetic essence. Now, in your imagination, you are living a day in this ideal partnership. What are you doing? Maybe you're cooking together or hiking a mountain or reading side by side in comfortable silence. Tune out the details of the scene and tune into your own body. How do you feel? Is there a gentle warmth spreading through your chest? A sense of lightness in your spirit? A deep, grounded calm in your belly? Get to know this composite feeling. Let it settle into your cells. This feeling, this is your new North Star. Once you have that beautiful, resonant feeling, that North Star in your heart that we identified, you have the core of your manifestation. You have the frequency. Now we can give the universe an even clearer, more detailed signal without compromising our ethics or limiting our possibilities. We can translate that abstract feeling into a concrete, energetic blueprint. We are going to do this by taking all the wisdom you've gained so far and channeling it into the sacred, creative act of crafting what I call a love avatar. Now, let's be very clear about what this is and what it is not. A love avatar is not a doll you are trying to magically animate. It is not an energetic puppet you are trying to control. A love avatar is an energetic and psychological composite of your ideal partner. It is a detailed character sketch, a blueprint of the qualities, values, and dynamics that would create the North Star feeling you desire. The most important rule in crafting this avatar is that it must remain faceless and nameless. You are not describing a specific person you know. You are describing the archetype of the person your soul is calling for. This practice is the powerful, ethical, and creative alternative to putting a specific person's photograph on your vision board or altar. This process is so potent because it forces you to get radically clear on what you truly want and need in a partnership, often for the first time in your life. This clarity is in itself a powerful magnetic force. It moves you beyond the superficial haze of a crush or infatuation and into the crystalline reality of what constitutes a healthy, thriving, and sustainable connection for you. It also gives the universe a very detailed set of specifications to work with. And perhaps, most importantly, having this avatar in your awareness helps you to recognize an aligned partner when they do arrive. You will be able to see beyond a dazzling first impression and intuitively measure a new connection against the core qualities and values that you know are essential for your happiness. So, let's begin the process. I want to walk you through crafting your avatar step by step. Grab your journal and let's start building the blueprint. Part 1. The foundation of core values. This is the bedrock upon which any lasting structure is built. A partnership between people with clashing core values is a partnership built on shifting sand. So, let's get clear. What are the top 5 absolutely non-negotiable values that your ideal partner must embody? Take your time with this. Think about what truly matters to you at the deepest level. Is it integrity, honesty, kindness, a commitment to personal growth, family, spirituality, financial responsibility, adventure, social justice? Write down the 5 values that are most essential for you to feel safe, respected, and aligned with a partner. Part 2. Character and personality. Now let's sketch in the details of their being. Think about their character. How do they move through the world? How do they treat people, especially those in service positions like waiters or cashiers? How do they handle pressure and stress? Do they have a sense of humor? And if so, what is it like? Is it playful, witty, goofy? Are they more of an introvert who recharges in quiet or an extrovert who is energized by social connection? Think about the personality traits that would truly complement yours and create that feeling of joyful ease. Part 3. Emotional intelligence. This is a game changer and is so often overlooked. How does your avatar relate to their own inner world? Describe their level of emotional intelligence. Are they aware of their own feelings? Can they communicate their emotions to you in a way that is open, honest, and non-blaming? And just as importantly, how do they respond to your emotions? Can they hold space for your sadness or anger without immediately trying to fix it or becoming defensive? Are they empathetic? Can they listen to understand, not just to reply? Describe the emotional safety you feel with this person. Part 4. Life vision and passions. What makes your avatar feel alive? What are they passionate about? Their passions don't need to be the same as yours, but do they have that spark? Do they have things in their life that they love and pursue with energy? Whether it's a career, a creative hobby, a sport, or a cause? What is their general outlook on life? Is it optimistic and expansive? And what about their life vision? Is it generally compatible with yours? Do you share a similar vision for the future, for travel, for community, for how you want to live your lives? Part 5. The dance of relationship dynamics. Finally, let's design the partnership itself. This is about the how. How do the two of you navigate the inevitable challenges and conflicts that arise in any relationship? Do you communicate openly and seek win-win solutions? How do you celebrate each other's successes and support each other's dreams? What does intimacy, both emotional and physical, look and feel like? How do you balance your sacred time together with your individual needs for solitude and freedom? Describe the beautiful flowing dance of your connection. Now, take a moment. Look over this incredible detailed portrait you have created. This is the human embodiment of your North Star feeling. The final and most crucial step is this: you must now surrender it. Read it over one last time, feel the excitement and rightness of it in your body, and then release it to the universe. You can fold the paper and put it away in a special place, or you can burn it in a small ceremony, releasing the ashes to the wind. This is an act of profound trust. You are telling the cosmic matchmaker, this is the order I'm placing. I trust you to handle the delivery. Your job now is not to obsess over the avatar. Your job is to become the person who is an undeniable, energetic match for the incredible human being you've just described. This leads us to our final integrating reflection for today. Look at the amazing list of qualities, values, and character traits you've just crafted for your love avatar. Now, hold it up as a mirror to yourself and ask, with love, in what ways am I already a vibrational match to this person? And in what areas is this avatar lovingly inviting me to grow, to heal, and to uplevel my own character, so that when we meet, we will recognize each other as equals? As you begin that beautiful, honest, and sometimes challenging work of becoming an energetic match for your love avatar, you are simultaneously stepping into a sacred and powerful partnership. You have done your part of the divine co-creation. You have cleared away the ethical confusion. You have identified your own wounds and ego patterns, and you have created a crystal-clear blueprint of the love you desire to experience. You have tilled the soil and planted the seed. Now comes the second part of the equation, the part that requires a different kind of strength, the strength of surrender. Now, you learn to trust the other half of your creative team. You learn to trust the universe as the ultimate divine matchmaker. This is often the most difficult step for our modern, control-oriented minds. We've been taught that if we want something, we have to go out and make it happen. We have to hustle, strategize, and manage every detail. But in the realm of deep, soulful connection, this ego-driven approach is like trying to solve a divine puzzle, using only 3 of the 1,000 available pieces. Our human perspective is, by its very nature, incredibly limited. We can only see what is directly in our line of sight. Our current city, our immediate social circle, the people we see on our dating apps. From this ground-level view, the possibilities for love can seem scarce, which is what fuels the panic and the desperate fixation on the one good option we see. But the universe has a vantage point you can't even imagine. If you are standing on a street corner, the universe is the satellite in geosynchronous orbit. It sees the entire globe in real time. It can see all the potential timelines, all the soul contracts waiting to be activated, all the beautiful threads of connection that are weaving their way towards you from across the world. The universe knows about the amazing person living 3 states away who is about to get a job transfer to your city. It knows about the friend of your cousin you've never met who is a perfect line-by-line match for your love avatar and is planning a trip that will place them in the same coffee shop as you in 3 months. It sees the entire, intricate, magnificent tapestry of connections, while you can only see the single thread at your feet. To insist that you know best who, where, and when your partner will show up is the height of spiritual short-sightedness. Trusting the universe to be your matchmaker is not a passive, defeated act. It is a wise and intelligent delegation to an infinitely more capable power. Let's use a modern analogy. Imagine your goal is to find a very specific, perfect little cafe. Your love avatar in a massive, sprawling, and complex city like London. The The ego's approach is to use a small, crumpled, hand-drawn map of the one neighborhood it's familiar with. It insists, the perfect cafe must be on one of these 5 streets, I know. So it walks up and down, day after day, peering into every window, growing more and more frustrated and disheartened. It might even settle for a mediocre chain-brand coffee shop, convincing itself it's good enough, because it's too terrified to venture off its tiny, familiar map. The spiritual approach is entirely different. You have the detailed address and description of your perfect cafe, your avatar. You take that information and you plug it into a divine satellite-powered GPS, a cosmic Waze or Google Maps. This GPS has a live, omniscient view of the entire city. It knows every single street, every hidden alleyway, every traffic jam, every shortcut. It even knows about the brand new artisanal cafe that just opened yesterday that isn't even on the paper maps yet. You plug in your destination, and then you do the bravest thing of all. You trust it. The GPS might tell you to take a left turn when your logic screams that you should go right. It might lead you down a winding, scenic route that seems to be taking you the long way. These are the synchronicities, the intuitive nudges, the random invitations and opportunities the universe places in your path. Your job is not to argue with the directions. Your job is not to keep looking at your old, limited map. Your job is to simply keep your hands on the wheel of your own life. Stay present and follow the next indicated step. If you can trust its superior vantage point and its infinitely complex algorithms, what we call divine timing, it will guide you with breathtaking precision and efficiency. Directly to the front door of that perfect cafe, the one you never, ever would have found on your own. This is a conscious act of co-creation. You are not handing over the wheel of your car. You are still the one who has to drive, but you are delegating the navigation to the expert. In any complex project, you delegate. When building a home, you trust the architect with the blueprints and the electrician with the wiring. In the sacred project of building a life partnership, you must trust the universe with the divine logistics. Your part is the what, the feeling, and the avatar. The universe's part is the who, the when, and the how. Stay in your lane and allow the universe to work its magic in its own. So, how do you follow these divine directions? You pay attention to the language of the universe. The persistent gut feeling, the synchronicity that gives you goosebumps, the unexpected phone call from an old friend, the sudden urge to take a different route home from work. You learn to listen, and you learn to be willing to take the next turn. This brings us to our reflection on trust. It's an active practice, a muscle you can build. I want you to identify one aspect of this matchmaking process that you have been desperately trying to control and micromanage. Is it the exact timing? Is it still a lingering attachment to a specific person's form? Is it the story of how you will meet? Can you, just for today, consciously and formally delegate that one piece to the universe? Can you find a quiet moment, close your eyes, and say out loud, "Universe, I am officially delegating the how of this to you. I am taking my hands off. I trust you." And then, feel the wave of relief that comes with letting go of a burden you were never meant to carry. That feeling of relief you get when you delegate the divine logistics to the universe is the feeling of freedom. It is the feeling of being in a true co-creative partnership to help you maintain this beautiful, open, and trusting state, especially when the ego gets anxious and wants to snatch control. Bakai, want to offer you a simple but profoundly life-changing mantra. This is a phrase you can mentally or verbally attach to every prayer, every visualization, every intention you set for the rest of your life. The phrase consists of 5 simple words: this or something even better. Let's break down why this little phrase is a master key to graceful manifestation. The first part, this, is incredibly important. This is where you honor your desire. This is you acknowledging the clarity you have fought for, the deep work you have done in crafting your love avatar. You are not pretending you don't have a preference. You are not negating your vision. You are standing in your creative power and saying to the universe, "This is the vision I hold. This is the feeling I am calling in. This is the blueprint I have lovingly crafted." You are presenting your beautiful, detailed order to the cosmic kitchen. The second part, or something even better, is the magic portal. This is the clause of ultimate surrender and trust. This phrase is a humble, wise, and courageous acknowledgement of your own limited perspective. It is a declaration of faith that says, "I have made my vision as beautiful as my current consciousness allows. But I trust that you, the universe, with your satellite view, may have a possibility in store for me that is so magnificent, so perfectly aligned, so soul-stretchingly wonderful, that I haven't even been able to imagine it yet." This phrase keeps the quantum field of possibilities wide open. It transforms your intention from a rigid, brittle demand into a joyful, flexible, and expansive suggestion. It says, "Surprise me." This mantra is the perfect antidote to a subtle trap the ego can set for you, even after you've done all this wonderful work. The ego is an expert at attachment. And if you take away the specific person, it can latch onto your beautifully crafted love avatar with the exact same desperate, controlling grip. It can turn your sacred blueprint into a rigid, unforgiving checklist. It can cause you to stand at the door of your life with a clipboard, evaluating every potential partner who shows up, and dismissing any real, wonderful, flawed human who doesn't tick every single box. Let's imagine two people who have both done the work of creating a detailed avatar. The first is David. David's avatar is a woman who is a dedicated yoga instructor, a strict vegan, has a minimalist home aesthetic, and has read his 5 favorite spiritual books. He goes on a date with a woman named Emily. He feels a genuine spark. She's intelligent. She makes him laugh, and he feels incredibly comfortable with her. But during their conversation, he learns that she's a passionate marathon runner, not a yogi, and that while she eats healthy, she loves a good burger now and then. David's ego, clipboard in hand, immediately starts shaking its head. Nope, she's not the one. Doesn't match the avatar. Not a vegan. Reject. He closes himself off to the connection, convinced he must hold out for the perfect woman on his checklist. And in doing so, he misses the potential for a real, joyful, and aligned relationship that was standing right in front of him. Now let's look at Sarah. Sarah has a very similar avatar. She also goes on a date with a man who doesn't perfectly match her list on paper. He's a musician instead of the entrepreneur she envisioned. He's a little more goofy than the serious intellectual she had described, but Sarah's guiding principle is this or something better. So instead of holding him up against a rigid checklist, she tunes into the feeling she has in his presence. She notices that she is laughing more than she has in years. She sees that his passion for his music is the exact same essence of the passion she desired, even if the form is different. She realizes that his playful nature is actually a perfect antidote to her own tendency to be too serious, creating a beautiful balance. Because she holds her avatar lightly, as a guide rather than a rulebook, she is open. She trusts that the universe knows the why behind her list, and has delivered the feeling in a package she never could have predicted. She is open to something better than her own limited imagination. This is the practice of holding your desires lightly. Imagine you have a tiny, precious bird in your hand. This bird is your desire. If you grasp your hand shut, if you try to possess and control the bird, you will suffocate it. You will crush the very life out of it. This is what we do when we obsess. But if you hold your hand open, palm up, the bird is free. It may choose to stay, resting peacefully in your trust, or it may fly away, creating the open space for a magnificent eagle to land in its place. The mantra, this or something better, is the spiritual practice of keeping your hand open. So let's practice this together right now. This is your reflection, an exercise in opening your energetic hand. I invite you to bring your desire to your mind's eye, see your love avatar, or simply feel that beautiful North Star feeling of your ideal relationship. Hold it there, in all its beauty and detail. Now, gently, lovingly, whisper to the universe, either in your mind or out loud, I am calling this in, or something even better for my highest and greatest good. As you say those words, I want you to feel the energetic shift in your body. Feel the spaciousness that opens up in your heart. Feel the release of the tight grip of control. What fears or resistance bubble up as you let go? Can you breathe into that resistance and let it soften, just for this moment? As you rest in that beautiful, open, and trusting space you create with the mantra, this or something better, the question that naturally arises in the quiet is, so, what is my work now? What do I do while I'm waiting and trusting? You've released the who, you've surrendered the when, and you've delegated the how. Your primary focus is no longer external. The answer, my friend, is as simple as it is life-altering. You take all of that magnificent, powerful, creative energy that you were once pouring outwards in longing and obsession, and you turn it around, aiming it directly back at the most deserving person you know yourself. You begin the sacred, challenging, and ultimately world-changing practice of profound and radical self-love. Now, when I say self-love, I want us to move beyond the surface level. Commercialized images of bubble baths and bonbons. As lovely as those things can be, the kind of self-love that truly transforms your energetic signature and makes you a magnet for healthy partnership is a gritty, daily devotional practice. Radical self-love is the act of consciously and consistently giving yourself the very feelings you have been desperately seeking from a partner. It is learning to meet your own needs for validation, approval, security, and adoration. It is about keeping the promises you make to yourself, from the small ones to the big ones. It's about setting and ruthlessly enforcing boundaries that protect your peace and honor your energy. It is about learning to speak to yourself in your own mind with the same tenderness and compassion you would offer a beloved friend who is hurting. This practice is the ultimate magical act. It is the core of the great work. Remember our leaky bucket analogy? The practice of radical self-love is the sacred art of mending your own bucket hole by hole. Every time you validate yourself instead of seeking it externally, you patch a hole. Every time you comfort yourself when you're sad instead of reaching for a distraction, you patch a hole. Every time you celebrate your own wins, you patch a hole. And as you do this, something miraculous begins to happen. Your bucket starts to actually hold the water you pour into it. Your baseline level of inner peace and wholeness begins to rise. When your bucket is consistently full to overflowing with the love you are generating for yourself, two energetic shifts occur that change the entire game. First, your desperate need for a partner completely dissolves. You may still want a partner, but it comes from a place of, I would love to share this abundance with someone, rather than I need someone to cure my emptiness. This shift completely eradicates the grasping, needy, repelling energy of attachment we spoke of. Second, you become an undeniable beacon. Wholeness is the most attractive force in the universe. People are naturally and powerfully drawn to those who are lit from within, who are radiant and full with their own love and life force. You stop being a beggar asking for scraps of love and you become a lighthouse, effortlessly attracting other bright, sturdy ships to your shore. So how do we put this into practice? I want you to think of it as a project, a delightful experiment. I call it the Date Yourself Project. The mission is to begin treating yourself with the exact same romance, care, attention, and devotion that you dream of receiving from your love avatar. Let's look at a few examples. Let's imagine Emily before she starts this project. Emily's day doesn't really start until she gets a good morning text from her person of interest. Her mood and her feeling of worthiness for the whole day are set by that external validation. Now, here is Emily after she commits to the practice of self-love. She wakes up, and before she even looks at her phone, she goes to the mirror. She looks herself in the eyes and says, "Good morning, beautiful, I love you. Let's have a great day." She then spends 10 minutes journaling about 3 things she is grateful for in her life. She has taken the power back. She has generated her own good morning feeling. Before, Emily would walk past a flower shop and sigh, wishing someone would buy her flowers. She saw flowers as a symbol of being cherished by another. Now, Emily buys herself a gorgeous bouquet of her favorite flowers every single Monday. She arranges them in a beautiful vase on her kitchen table, not as a consolation prize, but as a declaration. She is declaring, I cherish myself. I am worthy of beauty. I am responsible for creating my own joy. Before, Emily would put her life on hold, declining to do fun things because she was waiting for a partner to do them with. The new restaurant, the art exhibit, the weekend trip, they all sat on a waiting list for a +1. Now, Emily actively plans solo dates. She dresses up, takes herself to that new restaurant, brings a good book, and savors the experience of her own company. She is teaching her subconscious mind a powerful new lesson. My life is happening now. I am a complete and fascinating person all on my own. I am my own best company. This is the work. It's about identifying every need you've outsourced and learning to meet it internally. One of the most potent ways to do this is through a practice called mirror work. It's simple but profoundly challenging. You stand in front of a mirror, look deep into your own eyes, and speak loving words to yourself. I love you. I am so proud of you. I forgive you for being so hard on yourself. You are doing a great job. It can feel awkward, even ridiculous at first, but it bypasses your cynical mind and speaks directly to that wounded inner part of you that has been waiting a lifetime to hear those words from the one person who can truly make them stick, you. This, right here, is the most powerful love spell in the known universe. So let's turn this concept into a sacred commitment. I want you to ask yourself, what is one specific need, feeling, or experience that I have been secretly waiting for a partner to give me? Is it the feeling of being cherished? The need for a heartfelt compliment? The desire for a fun adventure? Pinpoint one specific thing. Now, what is one concrete, loving, and tangible action you can commit to taking this week to give that exact thing to yourself? As you begin that beautiful, revolutionary practice of giving to yourself all the things you have been seeking from another, a new inner state will naturally begin to emerge. The frantic, grasping energy that once characterized your desire starts to soften and dissolve. The constant, anxious checking for signs begins to fade. In its place, a quiet, solid, and deeply peaceful strength begins to grow. This emerging state of being is one of the greatest spiritual superpowers you can ever hope to cultivate. It is the graceful and magnetic state of detachment. Now, the word detachment can be very intimidating, as it's one of the most misunderstood concepts in all of spirituality. So let's be very clear about what detachment is not. Detachment is not indifference. It is not apathy. It is not a decision to stop caring or to shut down your heart. It is not about becoming a cold, aloof, or emotionally unavailable person. And it is certainly not about pretending you don't have desires. Suppressing your desire is an act of resistance, which only creates more tension. Detachment is something else entirely. It is a much more advanced and much more loving state of being. True spiritual detachment is the radical decoupling of your internal state of peace from your external circumstances. It is a profound and unwavering trust in the wisdom of the universe, and, just as importantly, in your own resilience. Detachment is the unshakable inner knowing, deep in your bones and in every cell of your body, that you will be okay. Not just okay, but happy, whole, and thriving no matter what happens. It is the ultimate declaration of your emotional sovereignty. It is you planting a flag in the soil of your own soul and saying, I am the source of my own joy. I am the generator of my own peace. I am the wellspring of my own love. And because of that, no person and no external event has the power to take those things from me. Energetically, detachment is the secret key that unlocks the flow of manifestation. The energy of attachment, neediness, and desperation is a tight, contracted, pushing energy. It's like trying to catch a butterfly with a clenched fist. You just scare it away. This desperate energy screams lack into the quantum field and, as we know, the universe can only echo that lack back to you. Detachment, on the other hand, is a relaxed, open, and allowing pulling energy. It is the open hand. It signals to the universe, I am whole and complete right here, right now. My happiness is not on hold. And from this place of wholeness, I am joyfully ready to receive the blessings, the love, and the experiences that are a perfect match for this complete version of me. The perfect analogy for this is the archer. Imagine two archers standing side by side at a great competition. The prize is everything they've ever dreamed of. The first is the attached archer. Her entire sense of self-worth is tied to the outcome of this one shot. As she raises her bow, her mind is a storm of fear. I have to hit the bullseye. If I miss, I'm a failure. Everyone is watching me. What if my hand shakes? This intense attachment to the outcome floods her body with stress hormones. Her muscles tighten, her hands begin to tremble, and her breath becomes shallow and erratic. She releases the arrow with a jerky, desperate motion. It veers off course and misses the target entirely. Her fear, born of attachment, has created the very outcome she was terrified of. Now look at the second archer, the detached archer. She also holds a deep desire to hit the bullseye, but she has lovingly detached her inner state from the outcome. She knows that her worth as a person and an archer is not defined by this single arrow. Her happiness is not contingent on hitting the target. So, she releases the need to control the outcome and places her entire focus on her process, the sacred ritual she has practiced 10,000 times. She focuses on the feeling of her feet grounding into the earth. She focuses on her deep, slow, rhythmic breathing. She feels the smooth, familiar tension of the bowstring. Her mind is quiet and present, because she is free from the crippling fear of the result. Her body is relaxed, her gaze is steady, and her aim is true. She releases the arrow with a clean, fluid grace. It soars through the air and sinks perfectly into the center of the bullseye. The paradox is that her detachment from the outcome is the very thing that allowed her to achieve it. Our spiritual work is to become this detached archer. We do our process, we clarify our intention with the avatar. We tend to our inner light with self-love. We align our vibration and then we release the arrow of our desire with a clean, trusting faith, allowing the universe to guide its flight. Detachment is the final and most profound act of surrender. It is the full embodiment of the "this or something better" mantra. It is you finally taking your hands completely off the controls and trusting the divine pilot. So, how can we begin to cultivate this superpower? Like any skill, we start small. We build the muscle in low-stakes environments. This brings us to our practice for today. I want you to think of something small and insignificant that you would like to happen this week. It could be something as simple as finding a perfect, close parking spot at the busy grocery store, or receiving a small, unexpected compliment, or having a green light on your whole commute to work. Choose one small thing. Now, set the intention for it clearly in your mind. And then, I want you to practice completely and utterly letting go of whether it happens or not. Consciously decide that your happiness for the rest of the day is 0% dependent on this outcome. Practice the feeling of being 100% peaceful and joyful, whether you get the parking spot or you have to park in the back of the lot. How does that feeling of unconditional peace feel in your body? That is the feeling of freedom. That is detachment. And that is the state you can then begin to apply to your much larger, more significant desires. Practicing detachment on small, everyday things is like spring training for your soul. It builds the muscle of trust and strengthens your capacity for unconditional peace. To take this energetic clearing to the next level and to fully and formally reclaim all the power and life force energy that you have leaked into past or present attachments, we can engage in a beautiful and sacred ritual. This is a practice you can do anytime you feel that old, familiar pull of obsession, or when you simply want to create a clean, fresh start in your energetic field. We are going to perform a guided visualization for respectfully cutting energetic cords. Before we begin, it's essential to set the right intention. This ritual is not an act of anger, violence, or banishment. We are not psychically attacking anyone or getting rid of them. On the contrary, this is a profound act of love. It is an act of liberation for both you and the other person. The intention is twofold. First, to lovingly call back all of your own precious energy that has been tied up in this connection. And second, to respectfully return any energy you may be holding that rightfully belongs to them. This is a sacred restoration of energetic sovereignty. You can perform this visualization for the specific person you've been focusing on. For an ex-partner you still feel tied to, or for any person or situation that you feel holds an unhealthy energetic claim on you. So now, I invite you to find a comfortable and quiet space where you won't be disturbed for the next several minutes. You can sit in a chair with your feet flat on the floor, or lie down if you prefer. Gently close your eyes. Let's begin by taking 3 deep cleansing breaths together. Breathing in through your nose, filling your belly, and exhaling slowly through your mouth, releasing the tension of the day. In and out. Good. I want you to bring your awareness to the base of your spine and imagine a thick, grounding cord, like the root of a great tree. Extending down from your body, moving deep into the earth. Feel it anchoring you, connecting you to the stable, nurturing energy of our planet. Now, bring your awareness to the crown of your head and imagine a beautiful cord of silvery white light extending up from you, connecting you to the heart of the cosmos, to the divine source of all that is. Feel yourself held and supported, perfectly suspended between heaven and earth. You are safe, you are centered, you are whole. Now, in your mind's eye, I want you to imagine yourself standing in the most beautiful and peaceful place you can think of. Perhaps it's a serene, sun-dappled forest, a quiet beach at twilight with pastel-colored skies, or a sacred garden filled with fragrant flowers. This is your sacred space. Look around and feel the profound peace and safety of this place. Now, I want you to invite the other person, or, more specifically, their highest self, their soul to appear before you. See them standing at a comfortable and respectful distance. See them not as you desire them to be, but as they are. A sovereign soul on their own journey. Imagine them whole, healthy, and bathed in a soft, benevolent light. From this place of calm observation, I want you to become aware of the energetic cords that have been connecting the two of you. With your inner vision, see or feel them extending from your energy body to theirs. Don't force anything, just allow the awareness to arise. Where are they attached on your body? From your heart, your solar plexus, in your stomach area, your third eye? Notice their appearance without any judgment. Are they thick and heavy like old ropes? Or thin and sticky like spider webs? What color are they? What texture? Just observe the energetic reality of the connection. Now, I want you to look at the soul of this person before you, and in the quiet of your heart, I want you to thank them. Thank them for the role they have played in your journey. Thank them for being the mirror that showed you your own beautiful qualities. Thank them for triggering your deepest wounds, because in doing so, they showed you exactly where you needed to heal. Ask yourself this loving question. What was the beautiful and necessary lesson that this connection came to teach me? Allow the answer to surface gently. Receive it with a sense of gratitude and completion. And now, it is time. You are ready to reclaim your power and to set both of you free. In your dominant hand, I want you to imagine a powerful tool of pure light materializing. It can be whatever feels most empowering to you. A pair of shimmering golden scissors, a radiant sword made of violet flame, or perhaps a precise, gentle laser of pure white light. Feel its weight, its power, its loving and decisive energy in your hand. Take one more deep breath in, and as you hold it, state your intention, either aloud or in your mind. Say the words, "I now release what is not mine, and I now reclaim what is mine." With love and gratitude for all lessons learned, I set us both free. On your next exhale, use your tool of light. With one swift, clean, and loving motion, sever every single cord that connects you. See your tool pass through them effortlessly. See the cords fall away, instantly dissolving into harmless, sparkling particles of light, returning to the universe as neutral energy. Now, bring your focus to your own body. See the places where the cords were attached. Watch as the ends of those cords retract back into you, bringing with them your own precious, purified life force energy. Feel yourself becoming fuller, brighter, more vibrant. Feel the empty spaces being filled with your own golden light. You are calling yourself home. Now look at the other person. See them standing freely, whole and complete in their own energy, no longer tethered to you. The space between you is now filled with clean, clear, peaceful energy. Send them a final silent wave of unconditional love and goodwill. Bless them on their path. You can say, "I release you with love. Go in peace and be happy." Watch as their image gently fades, or as they turn and walk away, disappearing into the light, leaving you gloriously, peacefully alone in your sacred space. Bring your awareness fully back into your own body, into your own energy field. Place both hands over your heart. Breathe into this feeling of renewed wholeness and sovereignty. Know that you are complete. Know that you are free. You have just performed a powerful and sacred act of self-love and spiritual hygiene. When you feel ready, you can slowly begin to wiggle your fingers and toes, and gently open your eyes, bringing this feeling of wholeness back with you. As you sit in this newly cleared whole and sovereign energy that you've cultivated through the cord-cutting ritual, I want you to feel the potential of this moment. You have created a perfect, fertile, and sacred space within your own being. You've lovingly pulled the weeds of past attachments and conditioned beliefs. Now, with this beautiful clean slate, we can consciously begin to plant the seeds of the future you desire. This brings us to the most active, the most creative, and arguably the most exciting phase of this entire journey: the practice of consciously and joyfully becoming the very person you wish to attract. This is the ultimate secret of the law of attraction, the principle that underpins all magnetic manifestation. The universe is an energetic mirror. In the long run, it does not give us what we want, it gives us who we are. We are in a constant dance of energetic reflection, and while a fleeting attraction might be sparked by opposites, a lasting, healthy, and thriving partnership is almost always built on a foundation of resonant values and matched energetic signatures. An honest person cannot build a life of trust with someone who is deceptive. A person committed to growth will eventually be frustrated by a partner who is stagnant. A person who values kindness cannot thrive with a partner who is cruel. To attract your king or your queen, you must first fully step into your own royalty. This is where your love avatar, which we so carefully crafted, reveals its final and most profound purpose. That list is not just a description of a person you are looking for. It is a divine prescription for the person you are becoming. It is a mirror showing you your own next level of evolution. The energetic gap between the person you are today and the person described on that list, that is your sacred work. Your mission, should you choose to accept it, is to lovingly and patiently close that gap. Not to impress someone else, but for the sheer joy and fulfillment of your own becoming. Let's imagine a woman named Maya. She has done all of the work we've talked about. She has released her attachment to a specific person. She has looked at her wounds, and she has created a beautiful, detailed love avatar. Let's focus on 3 key qualities on her list for her ideal partner. She wrote down that she desires a partner who is 1. Financially responsible and has an abundance mindset. 2. Emotionally intelligent and can articulate his feelings. 3. Has a passionate hobby that makes him feel alive. The old Maya, operating from a place of lack, would have turned this list into a filter for her dating apps. Swiping left on anyone who didn't immediately appear to fit this description, her energy would have been focused on finding this person out there. But the new, empowered Maya understands the principle of energetic mirroring. She knows her job is not to find this person, but to become this person. So, she begins her journey. First, she looks at financially responsible. She takes an honest look at her own finances and realizes she's in credit card debt, and feels a wave of anxiety every time she thinks about money. She recognizes she is in an energy of scarcity, not abundance. So, to become a match for the partner she desires, she decides to embody financial empowerment herself. She signs up for a free online financial literacy course. She creates a budget for the first time in her life and sets up an automatic transfer to a savings account, even if it's just a small amount each week. With each conscious financial choice, she is rewiring her own energy from fear to empowerment. Next, she looks at emotionally intelligent and articulate. Maya realizes that while she wants a partner who can share his feelings, she often struggles to identify and voice her own. She tends to say, "I'm fine," when she's not. How can she attract an emotionally open partner if she herself is closed? So, she buys a journal and starts a simple daily practice of asking herself, "What am I truly feeling right now?" and writing down the answer. She then starts practicing communicating these feelings in low-stakes situations with her trusted friends, using "I feel" statements instead of blaming language. She is becoming a safer harbor for emotions, both hers and others. Finally, she looks at has a passionate hobby. Maya realizes she's let her own spark dim. She spends most of her evenings scrolling on her phone. She wants a partner with zest and vitality, so she knows she must cultivate her own. She signs up for a weekly pottery class she has secretly wanted to try for years. She's clumsy at first. Her pots are lopsided, but she falls in love with the feeling of the clay on her hands. She loses track of time in the studio. She feels more interesting, more vibrant, more alive. After a few months of this dedicated work, Maya is a different person. She's no longer sitting by the window, waiting for her life to begin. She is an empowered, emotionally intelligent woman who is managing her finances, exploring her feelings, and creating art. She has fallen deeply in love with her own life. She has become the person she wanted to attract. At this stage, finding a partner is no longer a desperate quest. It's a joyful inevitability. She is now an undeniable vibrational match for the kind of whole, healthy, and passionate person she desires, and the universe, in its mirroring function, cannot help but bring that reflection to her. Now, this is not about achieving some state of perfection. It's about being joyfully on the path. It's about the sincerity of your effort. You simply need to be in the same energetic ballpark, committed to the same direction of growth as the partner you desire. This brings us to our final, empowering reflection. The ultimate act, as if. I want you to go back to your love avatar list. Pick one quality from it that you deeply admire. Now, for the rest of today, I want you to ask yourself in various situations, what would a person who truly and fully embodies this quality do right now? How would they speak in this conversation? What choice would they make? And then, as best you can, make your choices from that elevated perspective. Step into the shoes of the next version of you. As you practice living from that elevated state, stepping into the shoes of the next best version of yourself, your entire energetic field begins to recalibrate. It starts to hum at a new, higher, and more stable frequency. And because the universe is a perfect mirror, the kinds of people and connections you begin to attract into your life will inevitably begin to change to match this new vibration. The final and perhaps most crucial piece of our puzzle then is learning how to recognize what this new, aligned, healthy love actually looks and feels like when it arrives at your shore, because I must tell you, it can feel surprisingly, and sometimes even uncomfortably, different from what you might be used to. For many of us, especially if we have histories of insecure attachment or have been in a series of tumultuous relationships, our nervous systems can become habituated, even addicted to chaos. The roller coaster of a push-pull dynamic, the dizzying highs of reunion, and the gut-wrenching lows of withdrawal can create a powerful chemical response in our brains. We learn to mistake that intensity for passion. We equate that feeling of anxiety and uncertainty with excitement. We interpret the drama as a sign that the connection is deep and fated. In this state, a connection that is actually peaceful, stable, and consistent can at first feel boring. Or we might think there's no chemistry, simply because it isn't triggering our familiar wounds and setting off our internal alarm bells. Part of this final stage of the journey is gently retraining our systems to recognize peace as the ultimate green flag. To help with this, let us draw a clear distinction between the two kinds of powerful connections you are likely to encounter: the chaotic, karmic connection, and the calm, aligned connection. First, let's look at the karmic connection, which is often what an unhealed wound of not enoughness will attract. This is the roller coaster. It often begins with an intense, intoxicating, almost overwhelming pull. It can feel like a bolt of lightning, a sense of fatedness that is hard to resist. The relationship is characterized by extreme highs and extreme lows. The highs are breathtaking. You feel like you've found your one true soulmate, and the world is in technicolor. But the lows are devastating, filled with anxiety, miscommunication, and a profound sense of instability. Communication is often a minefield of decoding text messages, guessing intentions, and feeling misunderstood. There is often a palpable feeling of needing to work for the love, to prove your worth, to be good enough to stop them from pulling away. Your nervous system is constantly on edge, living in a state of uncertainty. Does she still love me today? Is he going to disappear again? This connection will absolutely trigger your deepest wounds, but often in a way that simply replays old, painful patterns rather than inspiring true, conscious healing. It is a stormy, turbulent sea that, while exciting for a time, will ultimately leave you exhausted and depleted. Now, let's contrast this with the aligned connection, which is what you begin to attract when you are living from a place of wholeness and self-love. This is the safe harbor. Its arrival is often much quieter. It may feel less like a lightning strike and more like a gentle sunrise. The primary feeling is not one of frantic intensity, but of a calm, peaceful sense of recognition. A feeling of, oh, there you are. It feels like coming home. The defining characteristic of this relationship is a profound sense of ease. Your nervous system can finally relax. You aren't on high alert. The background hum of your life becomes one of peace, not anxiety. Communication in an aligned connection flows. It doesn't mean you never disagree, but it means you feel safe to be vulnerable, to say what you truly mean, and to be heard with respect. There is no game playing. The connection is deeply reciprocal. It is a balanced dance of giving and receiving. You don't have to chase them, convince them, or prove yourself. Their words and their actions are consistently aligned. This relationship is a powerful catalyst for your growth, not because it re-traumatizes you, but because they're stable, Loving presence brings out the very best in you. It inspires you to be more of yourself, not less. It is a partnership that consistently adds energy to your life, rather than draining it away. It feels like a sturdy ship on a calm sea, sailing alongside yours in the same direction. So, the ultimate litmus test, the new compass you must learn to trust above all else, is this: peace. Not the fleeting, frantic high of a temporary reassurance after a fight, but a deep, abiding background sensation of peace that settles into your bones and your nervous system. A peace that is present both when you are with them and when you are apart. Ask yourself, how does my body feel when you think of them? If the answer involves a knotted stomach and a racing heart, proceed with caution. If the answer is a gentle warmth in your chest and a slow, deep breath, you are on the right track. As the saying goes, if it costs you your peace, it is too expensive. It's time to recalibrate your internal guidance system to consciously choose to value serenity over intensity. You have done the incredible work to become a safe harbor for yourself. Do not allow a chaotic storm to shipwreck you now. This leads us to our final self-inquiry on this topic, a way to anchor this new compass in your body. Let go of all the mental stories, all the romantic fantasies, and all the checklists for just a moment. I want you to simply imagine yourself in the presence of your ideal partner. Now, ask your body this question. How do I want to feel in my physical being when I am with the one I love? Do you want to feel that familiar, tight knot of anxious, addictive excitement in your gut? Or do you want to feel a soft, expansive, warm sense of calm radiating from your heart? Let that desired somatic sensation of peace be your new, unwavering guide. It will never lead you astray. That deep somatic sensation of peace is your new compass. And as you learn to trust it, as you begin to choose it over the familiar siren song of chaos, you will find that it leads you to the ultimate and final destination of this entire journey we've been on together. We have explored the intricate pathways of ethics, energy, free will, karma, and manifestation. We have deconstructed our wounds and lovingly crafted a new vision for our future. But all of these paths, all of these rivers of thought and practice, flow into one great, shimmering ocean. We arrive now at the end of our talk at the central truths from which all other truths are born. The most powerful magic in the universe, the ultimate love spell that will bring you a love greater than you can imagine, is and always will be the constant, courageous, and gentle practice of unconditional self-acceptance. This is the final key. Unconditional self-acceptance is not arrogance, narcissism, or believing that you are perfect. In fact, it is the very opposite. It is the radical, revolutionary act of acknowledging that you are gloriously, messily, and beautifully imperfect, and then choosing to love and approve of yourself anyway. It is the decision to finally lay down your weapons and end the long and exhausting inner war against yourself. It's the practice of celebrating your light while also holding your shadowy parts with tenderness and compassion. It is the moment you finally stop auditioning for the role of worthy person and realize you have been the casting director, the producer, and the star of the show all along. With this understanding, the entire narrative of your desire for that specific person undergoes its final, beautiful reframe. You can see now that it was never truly about them. Their arrival in your life was a masterful and benevolent orchestration by the universe, a sacred catalyst designed to bring you to this exact point of realization. The entire journey, the longing, the pain, the obsession, the lessons was a cosmic breadcrumb trail leading you away from the illusion of a savior out there and back to the reality of the sanctuary in here. The desperate craving you felt for their acceptance was simply a distorted echo of your own soul's deep and patient longing for your acceptance. Imagine your soul, your beautiful, unique being, is a magnificent house. It has a stunning, one-of-a-kind design, gorgeous windows that look out onto the world, and a foundation built to last. But, like any house with a history, it has its quirks. There's a floorboard in the hall that always creaks. There's a small patch of peeling paint in the corner of one bedroom from a long-ago leak. There's a window in the attic that's a bit drafty on stormy nights. For years, perhaps a lifetime, you have been deeply ashamed of these imperfections. You've kept the curtains drawn tight, the doors locked, and the lights turned down low, hoping no one would see the flaws. You've been living in a state of suspended animation, waiting. You told yourself that your house could not be considered truly valuable or worthy of being lived in until a specific, highly regarded appraiser, your specific person, came along, did a full inspection, and finally handed you a certificate of worthiness. Your entire sense of home has been conditional upon their external validation. The entire journey of this podcast has been about one thing: firing the appraiser. It has been about you, the rightful owner, finally deciding to stop waiting and start the joyful work of inhabiting your own home. It's the process of turning on the lights and taking an honest, loving tour. You decide to fix the drafty window, you heal an old wound. You take some sandpaper and lovingly smooth down and polish that creaky floorboard. You learn a new skill or cultivate a new quality. And that patch of peeling paint, you look at it, and instead of shame, you feel a sense of tenderness. You realize it's part of your home's story. It's a scar that proves the house has weathered storms, and you decide to accept it, to love it, as a unique feature of the character of your home. The final act of this grand reclamation is to throw open the curtains and let the glorious sunlight stream in. You plant a vibrant, colorful garden out front. You light a warm, welcoming fire in the hearth. You fill the rooms with your favorite music and the scent of your favorite foods. You stop seeing your house as a fixer-upper project pending approval, and you start cherishing it as a sacred, joyful sanctuary in this very moment. And what happens when a house is so full of light and warmth and authentic life? Its radiant energy pours out into the street. And people walking by, the right people are naturally drawn to it. Not just anyone, but people who have always admired the specific style of architecture, people who appreciate the beauty of a home with history and character. An aligned partner doesn't show up to give your house its value. They show up because they see the immense value and beauty you have already cultivated within it, and they feel a deep, respectful desire to be invited in to share in its warmth. This is the true magic. When you unconditionally accept and love yourself, you are no longer operating from a place of lack. You are no longer the leaky bucket. You become the overflowing fountain. This is the frequency of wholeness, the vibration that makes you a magnet for miracles. So let us end with one final gentle inquiry, one that you can carry with you for the rest of your beautiful life. In this quiet moment, what is one part of yourself a perceived flaw? A nagging insecurity? A memory of a past mistake that you have been withholding love and acceptance from? And can you, just for today, just for this moment, offer that weary part of you a single ounce of grace? Can you place a hand over your heart and whisper to it, "I see you. Thank you for trying to protect me. You are welcome here too." Thank you so much for joining me on this deep dive today on Mystic's Mind. We journeyed from the ache of longing for a specific person to the profound peace of finding a home within ourselves. The key lessons are to honor free will, to release the illusion of control, and to understand that the most powerful love spell in existence is the unwavering, radical acceptance of your own beautiful, imperfect self. You don't need to attract love. You need to become it. For your final call to action, I invite you to meditate on this one thought for the rest of the week. My primary relationship is with myself, and all others are a reflection of that. Let this be your guide. Let it influence your choices, your thoughts, and how you spend your energy. Remember that you are a divine, sovereign being, and your connection to the universe and to your own inner wisdom is your greatest source of power. Trust the journey, trust the timing, and most of all, trust yourself. That's all for today. Keep trusting your intuition, and I'll see you in the next one.